Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era Overwatch Esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Avalanche, immediately goes back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
We are 1 week away from the mid-season tournament. It is week 4 of the regular season for SNO, and we have some great games with some implications for the mid-season madness tournament. My name is 2TryHardRay, and I am joined by some amazing people here on the desk. We have Spectrion.
Yo.
Mr. Hunter Tane coming back from behind the caster desk into the desk this week.
First time on the desk this season. Let's go.
Let's go. And then, of course, Mr. Bossman Headrammer.
Straight from the bed to the chair. Here I am.
Hey, I mean, this man was watching those Korea matches, and I mean, sometimes it is what it is. You got to watch some good Overwatch, and boy, was that some good Overwatch.
I was so rudely awoken to do something I signed up for.
Oh man, it happens. But let's go ahead and kick things off. Week 3, we've seen some great matches. I mean, I believe last week we finally had our first non-3-0. So I'm going to start with Spectron since you were there for that. I mean, what did you think about last week?
Listen, any sort of competitive series, when you get it, it's just brilliant. Obviously, it happened in the better region, EU. No surprises there. We've always had the competition, the personalities, and it's just brilliant to see that happening. Brilliant to have some great content here on SNO, and hopefully it continues throughout the rest of the season.
I mean, yeah, you have more competitive matches, but could you just say the skill gap is a lot closer in EU between your teams than NA is just more top-sided?
Yeah, that's also the same thing. I think you probably end up deciding it. You know, whether the top of NA is better or worse, that's a different conversation. But I think EU has always had a very close skill gap in general, kind of because of how the scene has always been structured. We've never had kind of OWL to like drag the top up. So it's always been our teams who are a lot closer.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the trains.
Yeah, so I mean, Hunter. I mean, you've been casting. You haven't been behind the desk. So I mean, what have been your thoughts casting all these games so far, all the way up until week 3? Now we're in week 4.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing with going into, like, obviously, in some divisions we get put up into groups, and that's not determined by anything. That's randomness. So sometimes you might be in a group that is way stronger than you're prepared for. Maybe it's way weaker. So it's kind of one of those situations where we're going to have a lot of 3 Overwatch. Luckily, in this division last week, we had a lot of 3-1 Overwatch. I think only 2 teams ended up having a 3-1. So the competition does feel a little closer, and obviously the midseason is where we're going to see, hopefully not 3-0s. Hopefully we finally get our first map 5, because I don't think we've had one on stream quite yet.
Yeah, I believe we have not had that yet, but very curious to see how these games, I mean, given what's on the line for this first match, I mean, we'll get into the first match later and what implications we have for the midseason tournament, but let's go to you, Headram. I mean, Bossman, you're the one running the show. You're in charge of everything. What are your thoughts on how the season's unrolled so far?
I think it's going pretty good. I'm actually really excited to see a lot of these midseason tournament games. You know, we've had some little bit of banter back and forth between some of the teams, talking about, like, you know, my team would beat your team. Some potential rematches. Some matches we haven't even had a chance to see yet. You know, the top teams in each group are really what we're going to see in this midseason. And, you know, when everything's on the line and and egos are involved, sometimes you get some really good games.
Yeah, I'm very, I mean, not to, you know, put a damper on things this week because it's still going to be great action. But I'm very excited for our SNO production for next week when we're doing either semifinals or grand finals next Saturday, depending on how the scheduling works out. So that is going to be absolutely peak Overwatch as we conclude our first half of the season today and Sunday. But let's go ahead and talk about it. We got mid-season playoffs next week. Let's start with you, Hunter. What are you most looking forward to as we end this week entering finally into some competitive playoff type action?
Yeah, and it's kind of like I said, we're finally going to see the top teams going against each other because there's no guarantee that the top teams are going to face each other in the situation. Because right now, two undefeated teams still left here in the EU GM division, EMC Helheim and Special Forces. They're both 3-0. They're obviously not facing each other this week, so it's very likely that we're going to see them clash for the very first time, potentially in those grand finals. And it's not every day we get to see 4-0 teams or even 5-0 teams, given those results, go against each other. So that's where my excitement is at the end of the day, is finally seeing two of the best teams in their divisions clashing, which hopefully we should see a lot of in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, I'll go to you, Headrammer. I mean, you got the most knowledge. You've been around the longest. You know a lot of these teams. Is there a particular division or maybe matchup between teams or a team that you're just looking forward to coming into these playoffs?
I wouldn't really say. Usually, honestly, my experience is some of the most exciting ones to watch are some of the lower ranked games. Especially when everything's on. Again, they're usually the ones talking more of this Mac too. There's a little more of that community rivalry back and forth, and so I've been poking around some of the diamond tier discussion channels, and there's been some tier lists put out recently. I want to see how accurate they are.
Yeah, I mean, back when I used to play back like 2 years ago now, the tier list, there was even a Plat podcast when I was in the Plat area where they do rankings that you got. My team should be higher. Like it's always so much fun. And then you just get to settle that in the servers. So I mean, Spectron, what are you most looking forward to heading into midseason playoffs?
To be honest, I'm probably most looking forward to turning 21. It's going to be my birthday on that Sunday, so I won't be around for a lot of these games. That being said, let's be real here. I'm looking forward to PC Open. I really want to see who's going to be the absolute guaranteed number one spot. You know, on paper, could be maybe Everfrog Esports. They've obviously had some top 16 appearances, and even though they've kind of left their org, maybe be going their separate ways soon, then they're still in a great spot to find even more success.
Out of curiosity, is 21 as big a deal in the UK as it is here in the United States? Because I know you guys, your drinking age is 18.
It's like a decent deal. It's more important than like 20, but it's not the same as like when you're 18, you're just an adult. You can drink, vote, gamble, fly to Belize, and become a sand farmer. Like anything. Gotcha.
All right, so we will go ahead and talk about these matches that we're going to have today. So we'll go ahead and bring up what our schedule is looking like today. And both these games are going to have some implications. For our EU match, we have EMC Helheim going against Team.exe. Both currently in the top 4, and they're both likely to stay in the top 4. What this is really going to determine is the seeding for who will be going against each other. If EXE can get this dub, they could move up and they wouldn't face EMC Helheim, or maybe they still would. It's going to be tough. It just depends how the other games go, but seeding will matter here. And then later tonight, we have YE Snowfall going against Vicious Inferno, where Vicious Inferno needs to get a dub in order to punch their ticket into the mid-season madness. So lots of excitement going on. So let's, focus a little bit more on this EU match specifically. EMC Helheim, they are undefeated right now. I mean, Hunter, you've been paying attention a lot. You cast a lot. You look at the standings. I mean, what is your initial thoughts of this matchup?
I mean, realistically, I think it's no surprise to any of us where Helheim is going to be a kind of favorite in the situation. They've gone 3-0. They've gone through a situation where the teams they have gone up against have kind of been that middle of the pack, like teams like AG Vikings, ODL University, that have kind of hung around that bottom tier. So it's the question of whether they've had a real test so far at this point, and I think the biggest test they're gonna have is gonna be a team like team.exe, who's clearly capable of pulling off a win, staying positive within the seedings. I just want to see if we have that 3-0 come today, because in terms of their confidence and in terms of the confidence of the audience, I think we need to see that kind of dominance today to really solidify that they are a top 2 or top 3 team.
You could also say, for the side of EMC Helheim, that getting that big map difference could matter whether they're going to be the first seed or the second seed. Headrummer, do you have any thoughts? I mean, EMC tends to be one of those orgs we've seen a lot in CGL. I mean, they have many iterations of this.
Yeah, no, the EMC teams are usually pretty well put together. You know, a lot of them have been playing together for a while, and they're pretty tough opponents to go against. I also agree with what was said earlier in that the seeding is pretty important. Again, the midseason tournament is a single elim bracket. You know, if you get put up against the hardest team like right away because of your seeding, that can be can be a bit difficult. You might not proceed past the first round of that midseason tournament. So, the better seeding you can have, the better position you are to go far and get those extra points.
Yeah, I mean, Spectreon, EU man over here. I mean, what do you think? How do you think, for the side of Team EXE, how important is it going to be to try and get this dub and move themselves up to avoid, I guess in this case, it would be Special Forces?
I mean, they've already played Special Forces, and I was watching that game before we went live. I gotta say, Ray, it didn't inspire much confidence. They would really love to avoid that. You know, if it turns out that Helheim is weaker than Special Forces, they need to kind of take that gamble. This is where they have to find that out, though. This is a really unlucky 2-game run for them. They had to play Special Forces. They have to play now. And either way, you know, being stuck between a rock and a hard place going into the mid-season tournament, then they have to just decide which is going to be a little bit less uncomfortable for them, unfortunately.
Can't wait to see this unfold. But before we move on and start narrowing and microscoping this matchup a little bit, we got a little bit of an ad for you guys for the CGL lowlights featuring Mr. Leg Day. So we're going to spin that and make sure you guys check it out.
Some might argue that makes it the perfect name. No! Oh, the nade was going to be so big, but unfortunately you have been cucked by a lamppost, so GG.
CGL lowlights are back.
What is this? Well, all they've created is a little pedestal that says, new victim just arrived. Hey, wait, that's... Why did Valucio try and face tank this? And then that shield bash into it. I'm here to help. They're just so small. They're just too small, you know?
Every week on the CGL channel, be sure to check out Lowlights.
That series is absolutely fantastic. I know I watch the videos every single week, and it's always a great time, and everything's all in good fun. I mean, yes, you get a little ribbing a little bit, but it's Leg Day. He always makes it jovial and great at the same time. Very happy we got him doing that. I mean, anyone have any? I mean, have you guys watched the series?
As a person who gives them the matches, yes, I watch every single one of them. I'm just waiting for the moment that Ray decides to play again so I can give him Ray's match. And get him, I'll be like, yes, not, target this person.
Listen, I hope not. I get VOD reviews from that man. I hope he never has to do that.
we need to do CGL Star Pugs again for this very reason. CGL Star Pugs with low lights.
Oh, there'll be a lot.
Oh, that's what you gotta do. We gotta have another staff match during our bye week or whatever, and give that one to Leg Day.
Oh, that's good. That's gonna be a 1-hour special.
I'm gonna have to charge you extra for this one.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So we got that out of the way. We got another little interesting tidbit to go over. We have our game of the desk for the week. Mr. Hunter Tane is hosting that this week. So I'm gonna go hand it over to him and let him introduce it.
All right, so little fun game here today, calling it career pathing. So what we're going to do is we are going to give you a currently playing professional player of Overwatch. We're going to give you the role they play and the last couple of notable teams that they've played. And based upon what we've given you, you have to decide who that player is. So we're starting a little easy, maybe become a little more difficult as we go along. But I have complete faith in at least one of you to do well. I don't think I need to say who that is, but I still have faith. A lot of these are notable players. We're going to test your skills a little bit there, but It's going to be a fun time. So
Do we have to raise our hands, or like are we just saying?
No. You know what? I tell you what. You pull up my DMs right now. Everyone in the pull up my DMs.
About to
You
spam
can-
100
okay.
DMs here.
if you can't find me
I
in 10 seconds,
legitimately
you
was
are
getting ready
automatically
to embarrass
disqualified.
myself on OBS again. Like I was pulling that.
Yeah, that was not a good scene, man.
And then is it gonna be in order for like the teams that are on in order?
The teams are in order?
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
like-
yeah,
it will
who
be
they
in the
play
order. Yes,
for.
the team they are currently on will be the last team noted.
Okay.
That should be said.
So they're all
Okay.
still playing.
They are all still playing in active competition, yes.
Okay.
You're not going to get some random guy from 2018 who played on Element Mystic for 1 season. I promise.
Got it.
All right, but let's get this started. Let's start off with the relatively easy one to get things going. So we have ourselves a DPS player to start things out here, as we'll give you a nice little visual, because why not? So DPS, they currently, or before, they played on the Houston Outlaws, then the Florida Mayhem, and now they are currently playing on the Toronto Defiant. So I'm gonna give you guys, we'll give it 15, 20 seconds each to see if you can get that answer in on me. Let's see who you guys think it is.
I've got my
Hammer,
backspace
those-
doesn't work.
The first one was a joke. I said that before you even said anything.
Headrammer, those are two very different answers, right?
No, the same. It's the latest one.
Okay.
Listen,
Okay.
like I said
take your
in the
result.
green room, then I'm fine at everything as long as it doesn't involve season 4. I just wasn't watching then, so it's between. It's just guesswork at that point.
All right. Well, bright side for you guys, everybody is going to be correct starting out the gate here, because the answer is indeed merit is going to be the answer. So everyone's going to start out strong here today. We got the 1-1 to start us out. I'm very proud of you guys. Let's see if we can keep that up. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that, because I like people saying things. Quite frankly, I think
Can
you
you
guys.
put the text on your forehead right here?
On my forehead, yeah. You know what? Yeah, sure. We're gonna do that now. Let's go ahead and do that really quick. We're gonna move things around because OBS sucks.
At some point, we need like each team on each of our foreheads. We have a lot of real estate.
I
We can do it.
wish I was capable of that. That's a hippie complaint right there. You're gonna have to figure that out on your own time.
Prod, I need to take care of it.
Probably gonna take care of it. But anyway, we're gonna move on to our next team in this situation. So let me go ahead and pull you up. This time we're gonna move over to a support player this time around. So see if you can nail down this one. This player is a support player. They previously played on the San Francisco Shock, students of the game before getting put into NRG Shock. Again, give you guys 15 seconds to put in your answers. Again, I think a relatively easy one. I think perhaps someone that was maybe brought up a little bit earlier, perhaps, maybe, maybe you guys know who it is, as I graciously type it in. All right, I've given you guys your time. I think all of your answers are in. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Rack Attack. Rack Attack, unfortunately, Spectrum,
I didn't
did you
answer.
not-
No, I suppose
You-
Rack's never been on
really?
SF
The
Shock.
Rack wasn't on the Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
He was
No,
on the
Rack was
Shock.
on Paris.
Oh.
Rack was Las
Yeah.
Vegas.
He was on his first pickup. I swear was on Paris Eternal, and then it
There's
was
no shot I've
transferred
been lied
to.
to. There's no shot.
Yeah.
There's no shot I've been lied to. That's crazy. So we're gonna pretend that. Oh boy, this is great. All right, so you know what? I tell you what. Give them all a point, hippie. That is my fault. That's my fault. Give them all a point. You know what? Down the drain. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Hunter's trying to gaslight me, man. That's
I'm
crazy.
trying
I
to-
know.
trying to gaslight
I
you.
literally like Rack Attack popped in my head based on the last two, but I'm like he wasn't on the Shock.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll give you a player that actually was on the shot. Well, let's go with that. That's a really good idea. So let's go ahead and get the third one set up here. Gonna go back to the DPS position. Obviously, the answer is not Rack Attack. But this player was on the San Francisco Shock, and I'm looking at it right now, so I know they were. They then played for the Vancouver Titans. Currently, they're playing on Crazy Raccoons.
Man, it's a great thing it's on your forehead.
Yeah,
It's on your forehead.
I knew the answer.
I would know that one anyway because I remember
Man,
Breadstick Gaming, but
Yeah, I
have
knew the
it,
answer.
man.
Just I was always a fan of
Hippie
Heat
is handling all of this next time.
again, casters fight with OBS.
God.
Maybe
This is
next
actually the fight with
maybe
OBS.
next SNO the game is just we try and learn how to use that damned app.
Yeah, I'm just reading the team names as I see it. The answer just typed slowly across the board.
It's gonna be like first person to put text on the screen that's colored green wins.
All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving here. This time, I'm not gonna type the name right away. Let's make that. All right, so. Next, we're going to go over to another tank. They are previously on Trick Room. They played within the Pro-Am back in Overwatch League. They then played on Energy Shock and are currently playing on Nightmare, which I trust you guys know who this is. Maybe this name was brought up earlier. Maybe I type in the name now so it doesn't get leaked. Not like our script, unfortunately. I've got one person saying hi. I got another person who might have said it right. And it looks like everybody's going to be correct. It is indeed, there it's going to show. It's going to be Infected this time around. Infected, right on my forehead.
Yay. Mr. Squeaker himself.
You should have gone way back and put their console team on there.
He is honestly, also on Winthrop.
And honestly, on Winthrop, yeah. I went with I haven't included much college stuff within these players. Just went with
we don't believe in college here.
Just a little tidbit for the audience.
Now we've tested some of your knowledge within the Overwatch League, but let's test a little bit of your calling all heroes.
Oh God!
It's gonna be
let's put you on the spot on this one.
There's so many good players in there. This is gonna be hard.
As well, the calling out heroes roster manias are like actually diabolical.
Well, I give you one bright side. This player was in the Overwatch League, so let me go ahead and show them over to you. This player was on the NYXL, then them over to Green Fortnite, and currently in the OWCS, they're playing on Shikigami. Again, they were on the NYXL for that very last season. So
I know this one.
You guys know.
So I know who it is. I just can't think of their name.
I know who it is, but dear Lord, am I sucky at the spelling?
I'm literally thinking.
Look, I'm gonna put their nickname, okay?
Oh, you're gonna put their nickname, okay?
I can't spell the other name properly off the top of my head.
Just don't give me a point. I'm not gonna get it at this point. I can't think of the name.
I mean, you're technically correct, Adrammer.
I know.
Right, so, all right. So the answer is gonna be Onion. That's.
Oh yeah.
What did Adrammer type? I need to know.
He typed onion. Which is correct. I will say that is a correct answer.
I remember that being said for like after if they're able to be called onion, and they said yes.
All right, let's test that knowledge a little bit more. In fact, this might be the most difficult one on here. I wonder if you guys know who it is.
Is this also calling all heroes?
This is also calling all heroes. Almost very strictly calling all heroes. So, fitting over, this player was on Green Fortnite, Super Shy Ivy, and most recently is on Fluffy Dreamland, or if you want to call them Fluffy Aimers.
Easy.
And also works as well. Easy. Do we have an Easy in the chat?
Who's on that roster?
Come on. I trust you. I trust you.
I don't know this one.
I don't know this one either.
Does no one have any more guesses? Is that it? Oh, I should inform you, Headrammer, really quick, because I forgot to include maybe what this player plays. That might be slightly important. This is a DPS, so I'm going to give you one chance to. If you want to change it, I'm going to give you one chance to change it. Since
let me think.
That's 100% of my part. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Okay, frick.
You got this. I trust you. Entire calling all heroes is currently riding on your answer.
Well,
5, 4, 3, 2,
mistyped
1.
I don't know. It's a guess.
Those are both fair guesses. Unfortunately, they are incorrect. The answer to this is Wisps.
Oh, them. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I didn't know they're on Fluffy Aimers.
They are indeed.
I'm just glad I actually I'm kind of mad that I didn't guess it.
Originally, before it was said it was DPS, I put Hitori because I knew Hitori was on Super Shy.
Yeah, she
actual
was.
Super Shy, and other stuff like that.
Okay, all right, let's move on. We got two more to go here. Let's get Wisp out of here.
Hitori is currently on Quick Esports, I believe, after a stint in YFE Pixies, among other teams.
That is correct as well. Yeah, but. Got another player, someone who's played in CGL very recently, as a matter of fact. They are a tank player. They played on Amplify, Citrus Nation, and are currently competing in WCS as in Ramatra Punch. Again, competed here in CGL in our most recent Ghosts tournament. I'll add that little hint on top of that as well. So I'm curious if anyone knows this.
I will say, with the Ramatra Punch roster, it's been so funny watching the entirety of North America discover that Senna isn't cheating, and she's actually just that good. I've always known this. I've cast her at LAN before. She's just nuts.
Okay. All right. Well, I give a bright side to all of you because everyone is indeed correct. The answer is our boy. It's our boy Derpy. It's my boy Derpy.
I actually wasn't even sure. I typed my answer with a question mark.
You did. I was like,
remove credit. Remove credit.
Remove credit. That's the right answer. All right, we got one more for you guys. This one could be the big one right now because Big Boss currently leading the charge right now. So you guys gotta start fighting back.
There's been no EU players so far, by the way.
There has been no. I had like two EU players written down, and then I definitely cut them. That definitely wasn't personal or anything. But let's see if you guys... I think you might know this spec, but I'm curious about the others. This last player, they were previously way back in the day on Element Mystic. They were on the Guangzhou charge for a very long time, and now they were currently playing as in Poker Face, which Poker Face got knocked.
What do they play?
What's up?
What do they play?
They are DPS.
Okay.
DPS. Perhaps maybe one of the most notable names of the
it's
maybe one of the most notable.
I forget suck at spelling.
If you know who it is, cool. Spelling is not super important. You know, if you seem to know who they are,
I've got my guess in. I've got my guess in.
You got your guess in. I'm gonna give you guys 10 more seconds, because we gotta.
One-ish.
That's you know what? That's fair. Ray, any guesses? Anything left on the table?
I don't know.
Damn.
I love that guess a lot. I love that guess a lot, but it's only going to be Spectrion and Headrammer that are correct because the answer is indeed Choi Se-won.
I love him. He's sort of terrible, but I still love him.
We love our boy.
Dude, listen, Choi Se-won peaked on Echo in like last year in OWL, and then just decided he would never be that good again, and now he's the worst DPS in Poker Face. Like Jay Wu is crazy.
You don't even want to know what my guess was, Spectrion.
Please tell me.
Xerneas.
Xerneas. Why do you they have to be currently playing in it?
My favorite part of this is that Element Mystic were an exclusively Korean team, and Xerneas is Chinese.
All right, but that will do it. Big Boss Man has stolen the script and has stolen the win here today. Congrats, Spectrion. You disappointed me here today.
You gave me no EU players.
That should be no excuse.
That's such an excuse. Everyone else got a comfort region. At least one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it seems like the order is perfectly scripted.
True, actually. I mean, you should have given me like one like Hypnos EXO, so I could just easy guess like a Captain Prash. My day would be so good.
I also like how we're giving Spectron crap, but Ray has 3 less.
I was expected though, apparently.
I literally just preface this to you guys. Like, I have not been paying attention to recent OWCS stuff, so don't hold me to it, okay? Like,
no, we're definitely holding you to it.
Yeah. Hey, you pulled away 3. You know what? That's better than some people would do. Let's give it that much.
All right. Anyway, let's just dump that down the drain and let's focus back on this match. We got EMC Helheim, Team EXE. We did do some pre-recorded interviews once again this week, so we're gonna start off by showing you guys the EMC Helheim interview.
Hello there, I am here with Miro from EMC Helheim here, and I mean, let's just get right into this. This totally isn't take 2. How's the season been going for EMC?
So far, pretty well. Week 1 against the Godsack was pretty scary. It was like the scariest game of the season, but we managed to win 3-0. I'd like to shout out Connor Malman though. Free him. He's currently locked up for 1 charge of being a Sky Wi-Fi user and 1 charge of excessive inting. So stuck on the bench now. Free him. For week 2, we still have hope to have a clean record, but we had to drop 2 maps, denying a reverse sweep against OEL. I definitely didn't expect it to be that close. And week 3 was an easy win by 4. 3-0 right now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, 3-0 record, it speaks for itself. So, I mean, with the mid-season tournament looming, what are the team's goals for both that as well as beyond for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we will try and do the 1 block diagonal jump for the beef. to get the mid-season win. And hopefully, with a good seed, we manage to just take take it all and then keep a clean record all the way through playoffs.
Hey, listen, that clean record, it's looking more and more doable by the day here. So, with Team EXE being your opponents, is there any specific prep you guys felt you needed to do or anything like that?
Not really. We only screamed once this week with a bit of an incomplete roster, and today it's also looking like a bit of roster issues. So we'll just keep sticking to the meta. We think Team EXE are a bit of kind of parkour noobs, so we're not that worried. But we'd like to get a 3-0 for the seeding.
Ooh, the 3-0, the seeding on the line here for y'all. I like that. I like that. But speaking of, you said roster issues, even with EMC maybe not at full strength, is there any players, any compositions we should be looking out for you guys?
There's got a bit of issues since our Chungus tank is a senile North American player playing on unstable power, so that limits the compositions we are able to play for certain maps. So I think it'll be just standard meta.
Standard meta already. Before we go, I believe you said you wanted to give some shout outs here at the end.
Yes, our May One Trick Fifi says that everyone needs to stream Jaws of Life. They were an off-tank player before, but they went from watching VODs of Hawk to Backbone. Shout out to Connor for gifting us a win in week 1. I really appreciate that. You're a real fraud. Shout out to my coach. Oh, and I would also like to show you all 2 pictures of our spirit animals here at EMC Helheim. So first up, we've got a picture. I always keep him close in my wallet. We've got a picture of our llama because we're always happy, just like his llama from the Minecraft movie. And our second picture is Mr. Chill Bill because we're always chilling while playing the game. And also a shout out to all the fans who have been following EMC Helheim on Twitter. We really appreciate you lots.
Massive shout out. Well, I'm gonna let you go get that prep and stuff done here. But thank you for taking the time to interview with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And we'll throw it to the desk to break down an interesting interview, to say the least.
All right, I think that was one of my favorite interviews we've seen so far. I want to start with you, Spectrum, because that gave very EU type energy. I mean, what did you think of that?
Yeah, he's coming in with a character, he's coming in with something to say, and he's coming in with someone to flame. And if that's not the essence of the region, I don't know what is. I'm loving the vibes there. I'm not loving the Minecraft movie Alpaca, I can't lie. We don't at all level on that, but flaming an NA tank, that I have experience with.
I mean, Hunter, you were laughing at a lot of those pictures they had. I mean, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I think the Winton I normally have in my little corner here. I think maybe Chill Bill might be taking a bit of a stay in my corner. I'm gonna find that picture somewhere. I might message them for it later. But that was that's a heck of a spirit animal to have. That is I might have nightmares tonight. I'll say that much.
All right, Henry, what were your thoughts there?
I just love the shout-outs. We're like, yeah, thanks for giving us a win, like week 1 on the team. Yeah, just directly call them out.
I do like that they gave the shout out. This is one of the more popular orgs in CGL. So I mean, the fact that they got a Twitter following, that's really cool to see. I've definitely seen them posting on my Twitter sphere. They're in my feed for sure. So it's nice to see that some of these orgs in CGL got a little bit of a following going on. So hopefully all you fans out there are watching as we continue to go on the desk. But we now have another interview with the other team, Team EXE. So we're going to go ahead and spin that one off.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Fly High, DPS player for Team EXE. Thank you for taking the time to interview with me today.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So let's just get right into it. How's the season been going for Team EXE?
Okay, the season's been solid so far. We did end up, unfortunately, taking our first loss last week. We weren't overly happy with our performance in that game, but we're looking to come out swinging this time, make up for that, sort of do ourselves a bit more justice than last week.
Hey, listen, you could just use as extra fuel for revenge is the words that we're trying to come out there. But I mean, so that means you're sitting at a 2-1 record, I believe, right now.
Yep.
what are your team's goals right now? You know, are you trying to make sure to get into that mid-season tournament and beyond that?
I mean, that is the hope. We're hoping to sort of play more to our potential today. I mean, we think we can beat any team on our day. It's just, it's not often our day. We make mistakes that we know we shouldn't do, but we've been trying to hammer those out the best we can, sort of get rid of silly mistakes so we can at least be proud of our performance, win, lose, or draw.
I mean, hey, listen, as long as you're proud of yourselves, that's all that sometimes matters at the end of the day here. But, like you said, on your day, you can sort of pull up against some of these greater teams. And specifically here for EMC, is there any specific prep you guys ended up doing?
Well, we've had a little history of stalking the teams, watching their VODs and things, but unfortunately that was a bit hard for us to do this time around because codes got wiped. Overwatch, Blizzard, trying to keep us down, don't want us preparing too much. We've also unfortunately not been able to scrim terribly much this last week because we've been missing a player or two, but it'll be fine. It'll work out. It'll be alright on the night.
Hey, listen, as long as you got that camaraderie, that's all that matters. But I mean, hey, speaking of your players, is there anybody on your team, maybe even yourself, that you feel like is going to be the highlight, somebody we should make sure to watch out for in this match?
Oh, absolutely. I've got to give big props, huge shout outs to my man, Junofish, the big, scary tank player. Going to be eating him up, chewing him out. My goat.
Hey, listen, just keeping an eye on the tank play seems to be the name of the game here. Well, I'll go ahead and let you start getting prepped for the match here. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, Fly High.
Thank you very much for having me.
And back to you, Desk.
So I'm going to start with Head Rammer on this one. That kind of felt like, a normal interview there until like little shout out there at the end. I mean, what did you feel about that?
Yeah, I think they made some interesting comments about, their team feels like they can take anyone down on any day. They just really need to kind of work on their consistency and like trying to, minimize those mistakes because to be fair, that is a kind of loud Overwatch. It doesn't really matter how well you do in a fight if you can't do it every fight essentially. And then they called out Junofish. I mean, I watched Junofish in some of the recent stream matches. Junofish that's a good call out. They were doing a lot of work on the tank roll.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Spectreon on this one because he talked about, watching their last matchup and it didn't inspire a lot of confidence. But hearing what they said about sometimes it just isn't your day and they feel like they can definitely take on anyone in this division. I mean, what does that say to you?
I mean, they can tell me that they're going to play better, but I respectfully haven't seen any evidence of that. I mean, they say you can milk a chicken. It doesn't matter. So we're gonna have to see some actual practical.
Nobody says that. I'm sorry to tell you.
Okay, they do, but only in Russia because it's a Russian idiom that I stole because I love it.
I've never heard that one before. I love it.
It is a directly translated Russian idiom, but it's just my favorite thing ever.
So Across the Pond is getting some new content coming up.
Great.
Yeah, we might do some translated idioms next time and see how that works out. But no, seriously, I need to, if they say they weren't playing at that level, then fair enough, they can say that. But I'm going to need to see some hard evidence like I saw, because I thought the mistakes that they were making didn't look like mistakes you make on the day. It just seemed like things that they hadn't properly figured out yet.
All right, we're running a little bit behind, so we're going to have to go ahead and start going and moving on to the lineups. First, we're going to bring up EMC Helheim's lineup. We have Yimro, Fifi, Prof, Catboy, Varied, and Starty. I mean, any thoughts on this lineup, Hunter Tane?
I mean, all things considered, again, when you're in a team like this, and there's no real kind of history between these from what we know, but still, being able to have a team like this that clearly has the ability to give some level of consistency to go 3-0, that does mean something. I'm really looking forward to this backline, though, because backline play, well, it has kind of gone down to the Juno and Brig, and while it can be boring in some retrospects, it is still very important to have a really good Brig and really big Juno, so I'm really looking for Varied and Starter right now to kind of come out the gate here and really get their team supported and going.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring up the lineup for Team EXE. We are going to have Lexa, Beast Mode 759, Juno Fish, Issue, and Fab. I mean, I'm going to go to you, Spectreon. I mean, what kind of compositions do you think we'll expect to see out of this team?
Imagine all the compositions you see before Juno was introduced, and then play that. In the VOD I watched them, they basically never played the new hero, which is really strange, because if you ask me, she's approaching must-pick levels of strong right now. She's so crazy good. The numbers you can output on the hero, just bananas. So them choosing to avoid her is very questionable. Often I saw lots of like Lucio Kiri, like Anna Brigg, these kind of older styles of backline which work, and I like these compositions, and if they execute them well, then they have a lot of potential, even in my opinion, Juno Brigg. But Juno Brigg is just like busted OP, easy to play, so that's what I can really say about it. Maybe in these scrims that they spoke about not really having, they've adapted something, but you know, on paper, I'd very much expect something like a Lucio Kiri for most of the series.
I was gonna say, legitimately, like if you don't have Juno in the backline, the most popular one I've seen is the Anna Brigg still, and then I don't know. I think Juno definitely is encroaching upon this must pick. And then you kind of think about it. I do think this is more specific to Zeta just because they have Violet, but they do like that Alari. But that's just them, you know, just going for total picks, I think. But still, you never know when you try and make, you know, aggressive plays like that. Sometimes it can work out in your favor. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our favorite segment, and we're going to go to our Preds. For me, you know, I thought about doing a 3-1, but then I thought, this EU guy, man, this Spectrion, he is just going to crucify me like he did last week and call me a coward. So I went the full 3-0. I ain't no coward this week.
Listen, I firstly, I don't know where this slanderous like reputation of mine has come from. I've always been nothing but absolutely lovely. It was Joker's Ransom who invented this idea of 3-0s being a coward's way out. And while I might agree,
I think
why I might have also called it a 3-0, then I've got to deny all negative allegations towards me. Anybody who continues this will be hearing from my lawyer.
Oh, you're gonna pull a head rammer, huh? You're gonna sue us now.
Legislation saves lives.
Legislation. We're gonna go Congress. We're gonna go Congress now. We're gonna pass laws.
Yeah. So what's your pred?
3-0.
All right, Hunter, what you got?
You know, I took a look at last week's match. We saw Team EXE lose by 3-1, so I decided to pick the exact same thing here, 3-1 in favor of EMC Helheim. We saw before, hey, they showed, the only time they showed some real success was on the Clash. We are going to play Clash in that third map no matter what, so if there is a chance for them to get a map, I think reasonably, based upon what we have seen against one of the other best teams in the league, it is quite possible for them to take away Clash in the third map. I'm just going to say it.
That is so funny. I'm like, I'm not a coward. Spectrion's like, whoa, watch the call-outs here. Then Hunter's like, well, you see, I was looking at the analytics. So it's definitely difference here with the
you put like the math symbols that are like flowing.
I need that next time.
All right, what you got, Headrammer?
Well, you see, some people bring facts and logic into their predictions. I bring what I feel. So I'm going to predict a 3-2. I still believe EMC is going to win, but I also believe that there is a lot of potential in Team EXE, and especially off the backs of some of the star players like Junofish can absolutely bring this back. I do agree that Juno is really strong right now. And even if they don't play them, there are still maps in the pool which you can play more of the dive with the Anna Brig. And that could lead to a situation where, you know, we got a little bit of the back and forth, and then we end up with 2 maps for Team EXE.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and pull up those caster predictions. Our casters for EU this week are in the Fletch and Megalast. So let's go ahead and pull up Fletch's prediction. He went 3-1 for EMC, also a coward just like Hunter Tane.
Hey, wait a minute.
No, I agree.
Some slanderous accusations here so far.
So we only have one hope to save the desk from embarrassment if Team EXE wins. Does Mega save the desk of embarrassment? They do. 3-2 Team EXE. Mega got it right last week when they got their victory. So let's see if they could do it again this time. But let's go ahead and pull them up because we had some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes for this before we got started here. I mean, Mega.
Yeah.
How was the fire drill? I heard you had a fire drill.
Yeah, listen, you know, this match, like, the intensity was felt so hard that my building decided to spontaneously erupt.
But listen, it's going to be a spontaneous eruption because I'm telling y'all all are like, oh, EMC, they're so cool. They had the funny interview. Nah, I'm telling you, team.exe is going to ratio on twitter.com. You'll see it after the match, I promise.
I'm telling you,
yeah,
it's like the idea of Spectron's like the Liquipedia diff. This time it's a Twitter diff. So. Fletch, how are you feeling about this matchup?
What I'm feeling is that me and Megalas, Spectron, get on this. We deserve a visa or something at this point. Green card. We're in EU so damn often. Like,
yeah, I'm down.
We are never in our own region.
No, listen, come over. I'll show you some of the regional sites. Go through some of the wonders of the United Kingdom. We got Weatherspoons, and Weatherspoons. Okay, bro, it's on site in Stockholm.
That is going to be some fun interactions when you guys all end up going to Stockholm. So, with that, we are going to go ahead and turn it over to In the Fletch and Megalas, and we'll get this game started. We'll see you guys after the game's over for the desk.
All right, everybody. I guess, Megalas, it is time to milk some chickens. You ready to get this match between EMC Helheim and team.exe running?
I've already been clipped saying crazy stuff on broadcast once this week. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm not going for the 2-for-2 on that. But, yeah, should be an interesting match here. We're just going to quickly throw up the maps because teams, we're running a little bit behind. They're angsty. They're ready to play. We're still in week 4. Same map pool we've been playing with all week. Some might say it's the worst map pool ever created, but hey, it just is what it is. We're starting out on that Antarctic Peninsula and going through the rest of it as we go, as you see on your screen. But, I mean, starting with the Arctic here, Fletch, I feel like maybe these teams might have to lean into the brawl.
I agree. I mean, I think that dive can be useful on some points, like namely sub-level. I think brawl is just strong on the other two, on icebreaker and on laboratory. And I mean, we know how strong Juno is. We've already talked about Juno being this unstoppable force, with Orbital Ray being as strong as it is. I am so interested to see, like, are we going to see the Juno mirror? Are these teams going to finally adapt? Or, are we going to see this disconnect and they're going to try to have to force this?
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be the question here as, again, Juno is just in a very strong straight, and that requires the other support to kind of not be forced to play Brig, but you're seeing a lot of Brigs sort of act as the bodyguard for the Juno, trying to find that value and things of that nature in that regard. But, there does have to be a level of survivability for the rest of the team around that, right? You can't just be hoping for that Orbital Ray every single fight, because while Juno can build it quick, it does take a minute. So, your DPS, they do have a variety of options. We've been seeing a lot of the Ashe play and some of these longer ranges. Then the Cassidy comes in when you can get a little bit more up close and personal with your opponent. But EMC Helheim, they're playing... I'm so happy. Orissa's back in the meta. I'm so happy that it wasn't just a fake meta.
You're a unique person. I mean...
Yeah. Hey, listen. Right. Orissa's great.
Well, team.exe, they're being interesting. They're going to TP out of spawn, go over to the Tracer. They're going to be on a Sigma with a Bap Lucio backline. So a little bit different here. A little bit off meta for team.exe as we get into the Icebreaker. EMC Helheim on the ever-present Orissa comp, as you said. See Alexa taking some shots into the backline of EMC, but EMC is kind of planted their feet on the point and, I mean, just effortlessly pushed Team EXE back. They're going to get the first flip. They're going to rip Juno Fish apart, and it will be EMC that easily take that fight.
Yeah, I feel like I like what Team EXE are coming out with here in terms of the comp, right? It's a very old school poke composition, and, it's absolutely a great counter to what EMC Helheim are bringing, right? Where they want to be up in your face. Team EXE wants to play back, get those Ashe shots in, let the Sigma just do his poke. But, this is going to be one of the worst maps for it, absolutely. All these chokes that you try to push through, they're going to put you up close and personal with the enemy here. And so it's going to require a lot of kiting from Team EXE to find their value.
All right, Juno and the rest of EXE going to rotate around, wall out from Fifi. Going to cut off an angle, but not much more than that as EXE rotates through. Catboy gets rid of the immortality field. There's going to be some pressure on the point, but with Issue falling, it's not going to be an easy fight to win. They do get the flip here. Pulse Bomb is out, and unfortunately, Catboy did not stop walking, so directly into the death of Fifi. And I mean, that's just a great fight for EXE. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially here. Oh, they're coming back in though.
Rally out, answered by the Gravitic Flux, is it'll be good enough to get them the fight win. And I mean, great fight, frankly.
Yeah, and this is what I've kind of been theorizing, right? When you're playing these Orisa comps or even the Ramatra, some people are still trying to pilot, right? If you can play the way Team EXE is, where you're constantly rotating, using that speed boost on the Lucio, if you can actually properly keep the range at all times, eventually you will win out against this close range comp. That being said, they did have to invest a lot. EMC coming into this next fight with both their DPS ults as well as a Terror Surge to pull everybody together. It's going to be rough for EXE to live this.
Ultimates in the hands of EMC Helheim. Just about 4. Deadeye, the first to be used here. Gonna try and find something as the kite comes through. Now Terror Surge from Catboy gets rid of the immortality field. Sound Barrier comes out from Fab to try and keep EXE in this fight. EMC does end up getting the flip as the Blizzard comes out, freezes up Issue. This Frog is pretty lonely in the back line.
Yeah, and they do invest the Sound Barrier to try to maybe make that fight turnable, but EXE, it's just not enough here. So now we're heading into the next fight with Starty having this Orbital Ray. We talked about how powerful it is right now, just the healing, the damage boost for the whole team. It means that Team EXE, again, is going to be relying on that speed boost to try to get away and maybe try to find some value with the poke damage from Issue's Amplification Matrix.
Beast Mode wants to find something, as we're going to see the answer to the Amp Matrix is the Orbital Ray, and I mean, Orbital Ray is just disgusting right now. 1 for Beast Mode, but it won't be enough.
No, and now, I mean, they're looking at a situation where they might not even be able to touch here. Yeah, the Tracer going down means that unless there's a miracle for the side of EXE, that this round is going to be over and dusted for Helheim. And, oh, they do a touch.
Oh, wow. They give Fab on the point. Get overtime rolling. Can anybody else get in? There will be a Gravitic Flux. Lexa does end up falling. Rally is the answer from Very to keep themselves in that fight, not taking all that damage. It will be a trade, though. Yamiro falling to the Sigma there. Can they keep this above the water? Starty jumping around, able to get over the far side under a lot of pressure by Beast Mode at the moment. Juno Fish trying to spam in here, getting frozen there. I mean, the ice block is not great there. It will keep the May in the fight. The Blizzard going to deny all the space, and unfortunately, overtime has been gone for so long. It didn't take much.
Yeah, that Blizzard just zones everybody off. If anybody stayed on to touch, they would have been frozen immediately there. Nice little staggered out fight at the end, but unfortunately, EMC or VSA just had the tools and resources to keep it going. That being said, I feel like for this poke style, if they're going to continue to run it, that was absolutely the worst map here on Antarctic Peninsula for it. As we're now heading on to the sub-levels, you know, it is going to be a little bit more viable at trying to play the distance here. As we're getting a quick look at the scoreboard, you can see Fifi on the May. I mean, when you're playing Brawl, your May just gets to shine like no other, right? Having those walls constantly firing off those icicles in a relatively safe spot just makes their life so much easier. But both teams actually adapting. We're going to see a Ramatra duel while the rest of the comps stay pretty much the same.
All right, here we go. It's going to be sub-level here. Like you said, Juno now on that Ramatra. Believing the Sigma's not going to be good enough here. We're going to meet on this high ground. A nice little Anzi there onto Fab. The Frog able to get away. Catboy understands that, doesn't want to overcommit, but is so low. As are the rest of EMC Helheim. Beast Mode able to track down the kill there on to Yamiro to open up the fight. And now EMC Helheim, they're trying to rotate through the low ground. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a beautiful Ramatra trade there, right? EXE clearly getting the better of it, Junofish being able to pummel and just get everybody so low that it forced EMC into this sort of defensive positioning, which their comp just wasn't ready for. So now you're seeing them play the aggressors here, play far forward, but they have to be careful because, again, Fifi on this May means that isolation is an option with the wall.
Junofish and Catboy meeting on the high ground one more time. Early nemesis from Catboy, who's drops down and it just gives up this backline basically for free. Junofish pummels down 2. The flip's gonna come through and they might still be able to take this fight. Team EXE's got the reinforcements here.
Yeah, and it's just going to be clean up here. A little bit of percentage gain for EMC's trouble, but like you said, just a very uncharacteristic drop, a lack of synergy there for EMC, where they sort of ended up just leaving their Cassidy on a vulnerable. You know, that's the thing with Ramatra. If he's healthy enough when he goes into that humble form, just being able to throw those punches out, he can really just cause a absolute menace in the backline here, as you're now about to see with already having the Annihilation online.
All right, started getting pretty close to this orbital ray. A bunch of ultimates really coming up here. Beast Mode slept and cleaned up swiftly there by Fifi and the gang. Now Bob gonna get blocked, and we're gonna see the Annihilation in a small room. And unfortunately, I believe Catboy was walled off by their own May. So,
yeah, I mean, that's just an unfortunate wall, right? Because you have the Bob in that room as well. You have to be super, super careful. EXE actually invested a lot in that fight for just the orbital ray to come out on the other side here. So EMC do have good potential here, but they are going to be approaching a dangerous level of percentage where they are going to have to make sure somebody gets to that point.
oh, Pulse Bomb not going to find the target there. Beast Mode lurking, couldn't get the job done. 90% just about here for Team EXE. Blizzard gonna come out from Fifi. Will it freeze up anyone? It'll get Fab. Fab was definitely outside the circumference of that Blizzard, but it gets the job done regardless, as EXE are gonna grab this point.
Yeah, they're going to be able to flip it. And like I said, it was off that plethora of ults they had built up here, because they didn't even have to super invest into that, right? Just both DPS ults. They now still have their own Nano Annihilation heading into the next fight here. I think what's going to be really crucial for Team EXE, their path forward here, is to almost kind of lose intentionally to the Nano Annihilation, save this sound barrier as your amazing re-engage tool for the next fight after.
Alright. There you go. Team EXE returning from spawn. Pressure on the point by Beast Mode. You can see down there through the wall. They're going to have to drop down for it. They will be able to get rid of Lexa, which is awesome, but some incredible healing to keep Yamiro in that fight. Ward Beastman away and push Team EXE back.
And this is actually one of the worst things that could have happened for Team EXE. Like I said, losing a fight quick to Nano Annihilation would have been a good thing, but, you know, losing a staggered out fight where EMC, they can hold on to these ultimates. Now that percentage is starting to tick against you here. You're not going to have as much wiggle room for that lost fight guarantee.
Alright, more pressure by Beast Mode. We're going to see the Nemesis form be popped here by Catboy. Team EXE does enter overtime. Are they going to drop? Do they? No! No! No!
Yikes. There was so much happening. There was just Annihilations dueling on the high ground. Nobody realized the Tracer had flipped the point right underneath their noses. Oh, the objective is so important. I'm so glad we get a replay. I hope, like, it's just absolutely ridiculous here, as you're just seeing. Oh, that was a nice sleep, though. You know, give him credit where credit's due. That was a nice sleep, right?
Yeah, but we gotta also give him credit where it's not due.
The point, the objective.
Man, you have to touch that. Like, oh, that was free. That was the easiest touch of your life, and you just didn't do it.
All right, but I mean, hey, all tied up, one apiece here. Now heading out to the labs to figure out this sample and what it's made of here. We're seeing back on the poke here for EXE. Meanwhile, EMC Helheim, they do have the Orisa back in play here. And like I said, I do favor the poke on this map now. It has a lot more range to work with. The Orisa can't be as barreled on top of you, as shown by Myro going over to the Ash.
Okay, well, 2 fall early. Beast Mode to the backline, able to rip 2 apart. Getting the follow-up kills there. It's just Catboy left alive in the first flip will belong to EMC, or Team EXE, rather.
Yeah, EMC and EXE, very fun, you know, names. Make sure you're not getting confused. But yeah, Beast Mode on this Tracer been finding an insane amount of value. Actually now forcing Fifi to take that mirror duel here. No more Mei in play. And you know, when you remove these Brawl DPS, the Orisa definitely weakens heavily here. So it is going to be more and more difficult for our Robo Horse to speed in and find the value she was finding on that first point.
The rotation there, but I mean, Yamiro is just absolutely folded there. And without Yamiro, they're just going to try to escape here for EMC.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is what you have to do, right? Don't stagger out. Don't lose anybody else in the fight. Just back up and just sort of take your angles here. But, you know, EXE, they want to play poke, right? You're seeing how far forward they are right now. They can kite back whenever they need with that Lucio speed, and they can just sort of continue their engage as such as they're poking up towards these ultimates.
All right, EMC here, get another shot. Gonna throw out the Hyper Ring and try to jump onto the Sigma. Now the Gravitic Flux into the backline. Oh, it's gonna miss for Junofish. You see Professional Catboy wants to jump onto the backline of EXE and will do just that. The follow-up from Fifi is immaculate, and yeah, EMC gonna grab the flip here.
A Whiffed Flux became the opportunity there for EMC Helheim, speeding their Orisa in exactly like they want to, and there was enough follow-up from the rest of the team to make it worth it here. So now we are pretty even in the ult bank across the board here. You're probably going to be looking again towards this Orbital Ray from Stardy, but there's a bit of a Tracer duel, forcing the recall.
Yeah, Fifi doing a good job marking Beast Mode. Has a Pulse Bomb, both of them do, I guess. And Yamiro just dies so fast. Again, Lexa has decided to turn it up. Is anti for now, but not too worried about that, as Issue gonna clean up Fifi, and EXE is on a roll here.
And I mean, that being able to flip that fight with no investment now is about to spell disaster potentially for EMC, right? Because they're going to put themselves in a situation where it's final fight. They're going to get towards that 99%. So EMC is going to have to, you know, potentially over-invest in this fight just to guarantee they win it to keep the map alive. And then it sets over bad later.
EXE continues to dominate here on Laboratories. There will be a trade of the Pulse Bomb kills. You see Beast Mode wants to continue the pressure on the back line, but with the Terra Surge in here from Professional Catboy, EMC Helheim will be able to stave off a map loss here.
Yeah, but like I said, they had to invest both the Orbital Ray, the Terra Surge, and the Pulse Bomb all into that. So now just a Bob and a Nano that's going to have to compete against a Bob, an Amplification Matrix, even a Sound Barrier here. It's going to be an uphill battle for EMC, so they're going to have to play very tactically. They might even have to rely on Fifi to come up clutch on this Tracer.
All right, now 50% for EMC Helheim. Yamiro and the rest playing from this high ground area. The rock was in, and Stardy falls! The Gravitic Flux whiffs again, but I guess for now that is okay, with Junofish just being able to output so much damage with these Hyperspheres, and Bob is going to touch the point. Unfortunately, will not be able to survive for very long, as Team EXE start out swinging here on Antarctic Peninsula. Take map number 1.
They do it in such a bold way as well. You know, we've been talking about the Orisa, we've been talking about the Devo, right? These sort of staple meta picks. Everybody agreed Juno is a must pick, but the only Juno that seemed to matter in this lobby was Junofish on the Sigma. Sure, the fluxes weren't all they were cracked up to be, but the shield placement, the constant ability to take space and zone out the opposition just left them at such an advantageous position time and again here, and it'll allow them to get this first map under their belts.
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a great start there for EMC as we see them taking Icebreaker here, but once it got in, I mean, just mistakes. It was just mistakes, and I mean, the backbreaker was the unfortunate non-touch at the end of sub-level. God, that hurts, because they were. It was a very, very close map. If they touch that, they probably are fine. Right, but they don't, and there's no telling how much that helps or hurts the mental. Because, you know, obviously we're not in that team VC, but I mean, it was regardless of how it affected EMC, Team EXE took that, and it wasn't just a jog, it wasn't a run, it was a dead sprint through the end of Antarctic Peninsula with that momentum.
Exactly here, and as we're getting a look at the stats, I think that you can see some very clear stories, right? Fifi was trying to step up, do what they could on the Tracer, but on the other side of things, I mean, Lexa, we saw it time and again. I mean, no offense to Yamiro, but there was a clear winner in the Ashe duel, and it just constant headshots raining in, putting that damage in. exactly where it needed to be. As we actually are going to get a specific look here, I want to just highlight the weapon accuracy. Half the bullets you're firing are hitting.
That's ridiculous.
Especially when you're scoped in on Ash. Like, it doesn't seem that ridiculous, but that's absolutely insane.
I mean, a good weapon accuracy for most hit scan heroes is like 35.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, just an absolute monumental performance from Lexa on map number 1. But now we're going to map number 2. The pace of play going to change here. It's going to be Paraiso. And frankly, if team.exe want to continue to run this Sigma, I would not tell them no. It's going to have to be EMC, I believe, that is going to have to adapt and overcome.
I couldn't agree more, right? EXE clearly is showing exactly what they want to do here. But that being said, going into Paraiso, there does have to just be a little bit of a deep breath from EMC, mental reset, take that map what it was. That's what separates some of these really good teams, right? It's just that ability to sort of mental reset after maps, whether they be really good or really bad. But they are going to be the ones that have to sort of force EXE off of this off-meta shenanigans. They're going to be the ones to come and punish the Sigma here. Now, whether that's a standard Diva comp, as we normally see here on Paraiso, or if they're going to end up trying to go for some, maybe more standard dive, right? Maybe you want to try to go in with the Wrecking Ball or even the Winston here, since if they're playing Sigma, right, you don't necessarily have to lean into that Diva. The micro missiles can be eaten up, whereas the Tesla cannon, that's just free damage constantly time and again here, but only time will tell. It just kind of depends, again, all on EMC right now to sort of find this answer, find this bounce back.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be. They have to be flexible. They have to it's in the past. That map, you have to put it behind you. It has to be 0-0 now, right?
Absolutely.
EMC are we've seen them be great. If I'm not mistaken, EMC, that's their first map drop this season.
No. They went to a map 5. They went to a map 5 in week 2, but they're on a hot streak. They've only dropped maps in 1 series before this, so now they bring that up to 2.
All right, well, they lied to us in the team sheet then, those stinkers. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
a little bit silly.
Regardless, this team is 3-0 for a reason, right? And there's something big that separates, good teams from great teams from championship level teams, and that's how are you able to respond to adversity. And what happened on Antarctic Peninsula is basically the biggest adversity that you can find without proper being on one of these teams, right? The mental block is important to get past, and now as we get into map number 2, that has to be the biggest thing. You have to be able to keep the mental.
Exactly, right? Just being able to sort of calm yourself down, rethink things. We both highlighted how important it is. Great example, right? Half our desk has to keep their mental in check after already having their Preds boomed because they Predded 3-0s for some reason. But, we can laugh at them later. Right now, interestingly enough, both teams here, obviously EXE is in the attacker spawn, so they have a chance to switch things up, but EMC yes, I had that right. My brain just gave up for a moment, but EMC, they are playing the Winston like I predicted here. It's very nice against the Sigma instead of the standard Diva, so potentially trying to counterpick here, but when both teams are running this same exact mirror meta, again, it's going to come down to who can get the better of these DPS tools, probably.
All right, here we go. It is the dive mirror. It's a perfect mirror on either side. Ash, Tracer, Winston, Ana, Brig. We will see if this map selection by EMC is going to be enough to put them on the board here. Nice little jump there from Juno. Get some cooldowns out. Nothing too crazy just yet. Waiting for that jump to come back. The recall not in play there for Fifi. Able to get around the corner, get the healing there from Varied and Stardy. Juno waiting for the opportunity to jump in. They want to get rid of this Winston, who's kind of alone, Catboy able to jump out, stay in the fight. Headshots here from Lexa from across the map. but it won't be enough to clean anything up as a massive anti-grenade onto the backline of EXE puts EMC ahead, but it will be a trade. Fifi for Lexa. Juno has to back down and grab the Mega Health Pack, but can't get away.
And that's one of the worries about this hardcore mirror matchup, especially for first point parry. So, right, the defensive on a Brig is just going to be in such a better position, right? Anywhere that they want to apply that anti and have follow-up, they're going to be able to do it time and again. It really puts the attackers in a real bind where they have to be able to sort of basically have a bunch of people set up in a lot of different locations and then be able to initiate their dive in a very quick manner.
All right, Juno getting ready to hop back into this fight. Beast Mode, you know, able to force the recalls out of either Tracer there. The dive going to come in from Juno. Unfortunately, they're able to fade away from that. Catboy is anti-nanoed now. So, you know, going to take a little bit less damage in this engagement. Not even going to engage. Just force Team EXE to jump out.
Yeah, I mean, you're more than happy to jump out knowing that the nano is used like that because now you're going to be able to set up for your own dive.
Yeah, Issue anti there. Has the nano ready to go should they want to use it, but cannot get the job done. Beast Mode with a pulse bomb going to keep them in this fight as, you know, much as they possibly can. And anti there on the Juno Fish will get countered out by the Primal Rage. So no worry for Juno going down here too soon. The rally is the answer to the Primal Rage as well. Juno just decides to escape.
Yeah, having to leave for the time being after wasting that Primal Rage, not able to find the value you want with it here, is going to be a little bit tricky again for this offense to try to be able to break through. We're seeing a lot of ults come up on both sides, but again, it's EXE who has both support ults ready to roll, whereas EMC had to, you know, expend those in these last few engagements.
All right, here is the nano start. He cannot hit the whip shot, and now this Winston is just walking them down. But there's the whip shot finally coming through. Pushes the Winston back as the nano fades away. Lexus Bob is able to find the Tracer here early. Cowboy decides to get back, play safe, get the nano boost from Varied. Try to engage. Good for one, and no ticks have rolled through for team.exe. Bob gonna come in, deny the space, and I mean, EMC looking great.
Absolutely phenomenal for them right now here, just making sure that their supports don't get caught out by this Winston, but it's close.
Yeah, Juno, though, with the Pulse Bomb has 3 HP, but Beast Mode has killed 3 alone. Lexa cleans up Catboy, and though Beast Mode has fallen, Team EXE rises as they're gonna capture A.
It's scrappy. It's not the cleanest engage in the world, but Junofish had all of the attention and allowed Beast Mode to finally get to work. We know what this Tracer can do when the pressure is on like that, and now this payload is finally going to get moving here. It means that the defense is going to have to try to set up on the back of these villas, just sort of restaging, re-getting their positioning here, and just we're going for the same exact fight all over again, trying to take position.
All right, Beast Mode, just waiting, gonna be the cart princess here for a little while for the side of EXE. You see up there, Catboy antied up, a little bit unhealthy, not able to get too aggressive as EXE try to push this point through this first choke point, get on to the street as they do. Ultimates looking pretty good for EXE right now, and Nano Boost Primal Rage. Issue trying to build up that final little bit. Nice little anti there onto Catboy. Can they clean up the kill onto this Winston? The answer, no, for now, as Very tries to build up to a nano of their own.
Yeah, just looking to see if that nano can be built, but it seems like the fight's still chaotic and still invested.
Yeah, dive there comes from Juno. Gonna jump onto the backline with the Primal Rage. The Brig just decides, I'm gonna fly back over to my high ground, thank you. But the Primal Rage from Juno is, I mean, this juggle is beautiful. But the anti, as the Primal Rage fades away, okay, it's gonna get countered by the Nano Boost, and unfortunately, there isn't a Nano Boost on the other side any longer. It did end up on Yamiro. So, not the best thing there, but as Catboy tries to escape here, Fifi falls. It's just Catboy left with not much HP. Does get some healing, but will fall.
Yeah, and I mean, the Bob is just the extra exclamation point on the end of this fight here. As now we're going to be heading into point C. EXE, they're, you know, finally after getting off of point A, they have a full head of steam, some momentum built up to continue this aggression they have here. and it's been off the back of this synergy, right? Anytime Junofish goes in, beast mode is right there. So even if you're able to whip shot one away, there's still another threat. And look at that beautiful anti.
Pulse bomb though, not gonna find the target there for beast mode this time. No two-piece on the pulse bomb. Shots good from Yumiro right now, able to keep the pressure on as Catboy jumps in, antied, and one-shot. And I mean, obviously didn't expect it, but the worst case scenario for EMC is they have to play safe.
Yeah, and EMC, they finally give up the GOAT, right? It's no longer we can play this Winston duel. We have to opt into the D.Va, which is just better on paper here. But with the momentum EXE has, it's going to be hard to actually stifle that even on the correct hero picks.
All right, Chase duel on the card. Don't want to give up the free progress. Bob going to enter the fray, slept up. Yumiro very, very low, and the dive comes through. There was a great ante on the other side that keeps EMC in this fight, and it's Catboy this time. That is good for a 3. Juno trying to juggle this Ana to death. Beast mode cleans up the kill, but it will not be enough as the spawns are so damn close.
Yeah, and it also helps again. Catboy just decided, hey, listen, Winston, you want to commit to my backline? I'll commit to yours, and I can do a whole lot more with a whole lot less. And, you know, again, that's just the value that D.Va brings. These micro missiles do so much damage. Catboy already so close to a D.Va bomb means that they're going to be even more aggressive in these fights.
On the off angle, looking a little bit slower than we saw on Antarctic Peninsula, but now the nano boost on to Junofish. This, I mean, the supporting each other right now is beautiful. Varied and Starty just refuse to die, and there will be a trade. Lexa and Catboy trade each other out, 1-for-1. Only ultimate on the side of EMC as EXE approaches this final stretch is gonna be that nano boost. Varied antied up, as is Fab on the other side, but as Catboy returns, EXE's got to play smart.
They do have to play smart here, and I mean, Varied does actually have a Herculean task right now of applying this nano boost to the right person at the right time, as well as saving that sleep dart for this Bob.
All right, here we go. Bob in the fray here, but Lexa is not. Do they touch the point this time? They do. Overtime will begin here in a couple of seconds. Nano boost out there onto Catboy, but it's beast mode coming alive one more time. Fifi and the Catboy have a task ahead of them. It's a 2 versus 2, but with spawns being as close as they are, can they keep it going? They do return on the Sombra. Lexa gets the DMAC there. The hack, the DMAC Varied returns, puts a kunai in the skull of beast mode. Can they keep it rolling? Lexa falls. Varied cannot get the job done that time, but so very low is this Sombra. Yumiro comes out of spawn, removes the head of Issue. But, I mean, the health bars, as they stagger out of the defender's spawn, aren't great. And Team EXE are able to stabilize here. And it's just Catboy now. Varied returns one more time. Lexa getting the hack there onto Catboy. Cleanse up. Varied, unfortunately, being tossed across the map like a football. And as this D.Va gets demeched, will not get this self-destruct to get back in. Beast mode gets the rally out. Able to use the recall to stay here in this fight. Does get rid of that brick. Bob comes out from Yumiro from the defense. Will it be enough this time? 0.14 meters. They keep it rolling. Varied cleanses, stays alive. Nano boost on it to the Winston, and team.exe will be able to clutch up in the end. 3 points captured for them. Even if it was in overtime, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, chaotic, especially at the very end there. I mean, considering how that started with almost a 0.8 full hold for the defense for EMC, I mean, that was a great turnaround for EXE. They're able to get it work, and, you know, while I want to give credit to a lot of the team, again, Beast Mode just came alive on this Tracer time, and again, when the team needed it most here. Like, look at this, Junovic just 3 HP while the whole team's dying in the back line. Just absolutely ridiculous, but you know, now it is going to force a massive response for EMC Helheim. They have to complete the map to at least force some extra rounds potentially.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, everybody on the side of EXE stepped up that game, right? I mean, the dive, it kind of felt like, you know, the peak of dive. Juno and Beast Mode were one player. I mean, Beast Mode was following up on the fact that Juno had all eyes on them. And other than when Juno had all eyes on them, the two were just following up beautifully on, you know, the antis from Issue. Everything went so well on that attack for EXE.
Yep, and so now we're going to run it right back. Both teams starting the Winston again, which is very interesting, right? I feel like Catboy definitely was doing better. Oh, but speaking of doing better, that's a great start.
Well, bye, Beast Mode. Swift death there for the Tracer. Though that is a swift return as well. Dynamite out from Lexa knows where the opposite Tracer is, but I mean, EMC Helheim, they are not going down without a fight here, coming out swinging on this second half, and Yamiro pressured there, forces Junofish back so very low.
Very, very low, and I mean, that's a great way to dismantle the defense here. Now some ticks are going to have to be given up as EXE, you know, performs a bit of a soft reset. They can't engage until they have everybody here, they have everybody in position. But it seems like they might actually just be giving this one up and setting up for their point B defense. That is the case.
Yep. Breakneck speed here from EMC Helheim. Did not face the same struggles that EXE did on point A. We will see if the rest of this map is just as easy for them. Yamiro trying to poke down Lexa from afar. Has gotten the better of Lexa, at least early on in this map. But we will see if they can continue that. Yamiro, I mean, a headshot there onto Lexa is beautiful. Throws out the dynamite. That is onto Lexa as well. Yamiro has to back down from this fight as Junofish will try to be a nuisance on the high ground, pushing Yamiro back. Catboy was antied there. Juno gonna drop down onto the point after doing a little bit of surfing on the top of that building there. And as Fifi gets goes down rather, EXE are looking to, you know, swarm from all angles.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they've been so good at, right? We saw it missing for a moment, but it seems like they finally cleaned it up in this fight.
Primal Rage invested by Juno late, just didn't want to die.
Yeah, I mean, sure you didn't want to die, but it is such a powerful ultimate. To have that one missing could be massive here, especially when you're looking towards these ult banks. A lot of things going to be able to be invested in this next fight here. You're probably looking towards these nano boost again. Both Ana's probably going to want to apply them to their Winston, as there's a bit of a Tracer tickle fight happening in the stairway here.
Yeah, great mark by Fifi there. They know where Beast Mode is at. Beast Mode has a pulse bomb ready to go. Do they choose to use it? Probably not in the Tracer duel. But as we see the nano boost onto Catboy as well as Juno, but a beautiful sleep denies a lot of the value from a Junofish. They're trying to keep it going, but Yamiro probably took a shot there from Lexa, cleaned up by Juno, and EMC Helheim, even with the Bob, not able to get that fight done.
Yeah, and I mean, having Nano Monkey on both sides here, you know, ultimately you see EMC Helheim, they don't find the same exact value. Catboy does not seem as confident on the roll as Junofish is right now with these primals. You know, that being said, that is a nice pick here. Yamiro making up for that last map in spades right now in this Ashe duel, but there's still so much more to do for EMC Helheim.
All right, Beast Mode with the pulse bomb, been so good, gonna stick it right onto the shield, unfortunately. And Sleep does not land there, unfortunately, for Varied, but the rally will come out, and Yamiro clicks another head. Lexa gonna throw in there. Bob's gonna try to get further into this fight. Bob slept up. They're gonna try to keep this Ashe in the fight. Will be able to do so as Catboy gets around the corner, escaping Bob's line of sight. Pulse bomb does not find target there, unfortunately, for Fifi, as at this point creeps toward the end of B. Yamiro going to get jumped on there by Junofish. They do get the touch there, so 4 meters separates EMC from a cap here on B. Primal Rage from Junofish going to find the juggle kill there onto Yamiro, and without Yamiro, EMC will just have to back up here.
Yeah, I mean, this full-scale reset being sounded, you know, it's not the best look for EMC. I feel like they definitely could have continued into that fight, but just giving it up, this is just a lot of respect being given over to Team EXE right now, who just currently have all the momentum behind them, right? They have both support ults, but it's already ready to go, whereas EMC Helheim, they're falling just a little bit behind in that rally charge. So this next fight, again, it's going to be a duel of these Nano Winstons, I feel.
All right, here we go. Only the support ultimates particularly close here, as Issue decides to, you know, shoot the bubble, get rid of the bubble. Anti out, gonna hit 2. Yamiro, Starty, antied up, Nano on to Juno Fish, trying to chase down this Ana, and I mean the the nade there to help the healing out from Starty to ward Juno Fish off. They're gonna be able to jump counter dive here onto Professional Catboy. Barely able to escape that fight as well. Unfortunately, Starty is all alone on the floor. Rally out from Fab to deny the dive there from Catboy, and EXE are still riding a high.
Still riding it absolutely here. Their momentum has been massive considering, again, how fast point A was handed over. EMC has been stifled in their tracks here now with less than a minute to work with. They do have the Bob as well as their own rally, but it is going to be met on the other side by Lexa's Bob as well here. So positioning is going to be key for wherever that Omnic Butler ends up and to make sure that the rest of the team can follow up on the damage that's being done.
Well, there is our friendly Omnic Butler. Unfortunately, that sleep does not land on either Bob or Juno, and Beast Mode drops the Pulse Bomb again, and you see Catboy understands that this fight is over. Just need one more. God, Beast Mode.
I genuinely, Beast Mode, somebody check his PC. Like, I'm watching flicks and things that I don't think Tracer players should be capable of. And now, again, we're heading to a final fight situation. Somebody's going to make sure to get over to that payload to trigger the overtime here. You're going to have Bob as well as a Pulse Bomb here. And if the fight goes long enough, as you'll have that Primal Rage as well, whereas EXE, they're simply lacking in those tools.
All right, here we go. One more fight as overtime begins. Bob going to enter the fray here on behalf of Yamiro. Fifi is able to drop one of the biggest pain points there early. Beast Mode, Fab, fall. The juggle from Catboy. Good for one more. Make that 3 for Professional Catboy is EMC. They're going to clean it up and roll through B.
Yeah, last minute doesn't matter as long as they end up getting it done and they keep this dream of finishing this map alive here now. Fifi with a Pulse Pump online here, ready to be able to stick it through onto the break as we've been seeing all day long. But yeah, I mean, we're taking a look at Professor Catboy. I was a doubter of the Winston from this player, but I mean, they've been stepping up in spades so far.
All right, gonna be able to jump there, clean up the Pulse Bomb damage there onto Juno Fish. And I mean, without Juno Fish in this fight, team.exe are going to be reeling. They have to live, but now only a minute on the clock.
1 minute can do a lot of damage, a lot of hurt, if you will, here. But again, this aggression, it's just, the attacking team just continues to go forward for EMC. They've got all the momentum.
Yeah, unrelenting here for EMC Helheim. Beast Mode falls. The point continues to push here for EMC Helheim. They only have 30 seconds.
30 seconds is all that you need, especially when you have a Nano Winston engaged like you do now.
All right, aggro, Nano, Winston, anti there onto Professional Catboy. Able to stay in that fight. Now 20 seconds on the clock. Gonna jump there on it to the Ash. Lexa followed up. Fifi able to get that kill confirmed now. 15 seconds left. It is Lexa for Varied. Beast Mode trying to drop Fifi, and the Pulse Bomb is out. Unfortunately, Starty cannot block that damage. The trades continue to come through, but unfortunately for EMC, those trades favor EXE so heavily, and the rally more of a victory dance at this point as team.exe move to match point.
Again, another close map here, some back and forth trades, some hero plays being all the difference here in some of these fights, but it is Team EXE, that ability to say they're on match point right now. I mean, when Beast Mode's doing things like this on Tracer, I can't really fault you for falling over time and again, but, you know, like we were worried about coming out of that first map, right? How the mental's going to be. There was a really bad C9 and just overall losing the duel against an off-meta comp, right? But it seemed like they bounced back. They were playing incredibly well. It's just that still EXE had this flexibility and depth to make it even better.
I mean, everything was kind of close, including the map as a whole, I suppose. But, I mean, when you've got just take your pick of players with 4Ks for team.exe right now, as we see Catboy grabbing another. But I mean, there's just playmakers on EXE right now. They don't want there to be another undefeated team left. Like, there's only one left, and it's EMC Helheim. Yeah, EXE is sitting at 2-1 on the season, right? Helheim 3-0. Like, EXE is making a case for themselves right now as one of the best teams in this. Or I guess no. Special Forces is also undefeated. That's my bad. But regardless, Team EXE, they are fighting.
Absolutely, and when you're, you know, again, with that midseason tournament looming, right, both these teams are in a relatively safe spot to make appearances there, but when seeding's on the line and things like that, and they're playing each other this close across maps, even if the overall scoreline is currently leaning heavily towards Team EXE, you have to just, you know, be sort of ready with anticipation for how those matches are going to look. But, you know, that's a great thing. This match isn't even over yet. We still have more Overwatch to see as we're getting a look at our stats. And I mean, oh my goodness, just immediately the first thing I see is Beast Mode with 18 final blows.
I mean, Beast Mode only has 8, but wait.
18.
No, that's deaths. 8 deaths. Yeah, no, you're right. They can't see that right now, though. Yeah, they can.
They can.
I'm blind. I'm stupid. But I mean, you see the difference between these two teams right now. Like, that map felt a lot closer. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of the unbalanced stats probably came from that first round. But, I mean, my God, as we get a look at Beast Mode specifically, I mean, 18 final blows to only 8 deaths. That is a 2 KD. That's crazy, to be honest. Like, just, I mean, Junofish also had 16. That was just a dominant performance. Way closer, like, in game than the stats would have you believe, though. But yeah, I mean, EXE, they're on one right now.
Yeah, I mean, on one is definitely the words for it here. EMC Helheim playing them close, but just, you know, lacking in that little bit. They're just not being able to drag it over the finish line here. But, you know, there's still plenty more Overwatch to be played here, but, you know, unfortunately, I think it does have to happen in a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, this is where you were supposed to do an outro. That way we can throw a break.
All right, my bad. I thought that was good. No, we're gonna cut it to a short break. When we come back, we will see if Team EXE can lock up and knock off another undefeated team. As you get back here, you don't get to run away from me. We'll cut to a break. I'm gonna deal with this. All right. All right, welcome back, everybody. I mean, we're straightened out now, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's happening most of the time. But what I am sure of is that Team EXE, they look great right now.
Absolutely. Currently have that 2-0, 1 point away from locking up a massive 3-0 victory over an undefeated EMC Helheim. But, reverse sweeps are never out of the cards. These maps have been incredibly close back and forth here. And our next map coming up, our next mode rather, definitely is one where anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of said it over and over again since this came into the map pool, right? Since Clash came into the map pool. Until people have, got the time and hours that, we have on something like Push or Flashpoint now, it's going to be a swing map. Swing map type, I should say. People don't know how to play it perfectly just yet. It is a very volatile map type, and it's not to say that EMC is playing bad, but this has to be their opportunity to find some momentum now, late in this series. Because if there is going to be a map where proverbially the team that's playing worse, right? If they're going to find this momentum, it has to be here. Because like you said, yeah, this match has been very, very close, and it has. EMC need to, kind of flip the script a little bit.
Absolutely. And I mean, this map is going to be the one to do it. We've seen some interesting comps that have come out on this. I think back to last week, right, where we had a team that was cycling a Terra Surge Deadeye combo and a Nanoblade combo to sort of just push them through the map. And it worked really, really well because of the way that the Clash game mode, supports, right? You just have to make sure you're winning a decisive fight on the point, making sure no extra touches come through in order to secure those objectives. So, we could see some things like that. I think this is going to be a mode that might actually definitely look weaker for Team EXE, right? They haven't, fully been leaning into these brawl styles. They played a little bit of Ramatra, but otherwise it's mainly been the SIG and their dive. So EMC Helheim, who looks more practiced on the brawl, definitely could have an advantage here as long as they're able to roll out on it. And Fifi, again, back on the Mei, as you're already seeing, making sure that these Mei walls, they connect with isolating a target, but then that target is also followed up on as we're getting on right into it.
All right, here we go. Point C, as always. These teams will meet in the middle. A little bit of an off angle there. Fifi denies that. This Catboy pops the Nemesis form, but Junofish makes Fifi eat a rock. The accretion is great. And Fifi, that is a very weird-looking venture, I suppose, as Team EXE will just come out swinging one more time and win that fight pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, losing the Mei, it's so crucial to these brawl comps. You absolutely can't have situations like that where Fifi is going down. So maybe just needing a little bit more support, a little bit more synchronization here. But Team EXE, they're firing on all cylinders. They're going to continue their momentum here with the Sigma. I mean, Junofish forcing an off-meta pick, but making it look dominant right now. Absolutely crazy. And now you're going to see them try to pass to the high ground and take advantage of it.
And Juno has to back down for a second, I suppose, as Fifi's actually able to get rid of Fab. So a great early pick there, coming into this second fight, basically the reverse of what happened in the first. Jumping onto this backline, Junofish is able to get rid of the Reaper, but unfortunately, EMC are going to be able to take that fight and grab this point.
Yeah, being able to answer back in a very nice way, starting with that pick onto the Lucio and then escalating it from there here should tie us up at 1 apiece, unless Beast Mode really thinks they can get in, install this out long enough for the rest of the team to get back for some solid touches.
The answer is that Beast Mode does think they can do that, and it looks like they can. Except that there's an ice wall between them and the point.
The ice wall, it sends them spinning here, and so now Helheim might actually be the aggressors here, using this Coalescence to just sort of barrel down onto EXE here, who might not be ready for it.
All right. I mean, Ultimate Economy so heavily in the favor of Team EXE, but Yamiro is able to pop one early. Gravitic Flux came out. Junofish is able to trade their supports here, so Stardy not in this fight. Juno very, very low. A couple of seconds left before Catboy can, get really aggressive with the Nemesis form again. But Beast Mode, I mean, what else can you say about this guy?
And the center point is so unbelievably rough for Helheim's composition. You're seeing it time and again, right? Lexa is just sitting far away in one of these corners, just being able to fire off Ash shots left, right, and center here. And it's also allowing Beast Mode to then get in the back line, do the work needed here. But that being said, again, once this high ground can be taken away, once they can apply pressure, Fifi comes up clutch.
I mean, Fifi one more time with a clutch headshot to start the fight does end up getting traded. If they can keep this Death Blossom away, they can win, but they may not even need it right here as Junofish is so damn low. Yeah, Yamiro just uncontested to the back line.
I mean, yeah, the teleport in, Reaper sneaks up behind you, nothing personnel, kid. And I mean, if EMC Helheim can secure this point without having to invest a single ultimate, it could be massive for them. That's why you're seeing so many members try to play so far forward here. They're trying to stop Team EXE from feeling confident enough for another touch.
Point B, for a second time, will belong to EMC, and now it is their turn to have the ultimate advantage as we go back to C for a third round here. T-Fleet on to the high ground. Has the Death Blossom, gonna find one. Immortality Field denies a lot of that damage, but God, what a beautiful spin there.
And I mean, keeping their ultimate advantage, you know, pretty seemingly intact as well, right? Only having to use the Sound Barrier and the Death Blossom, so now you still have Annihilation, Coalescence, all these other tools to work with. It's going to be massive as now you're going to be seeing EMC Helheim take the lead here with 3 points.
All right, now heading to point D for the first time here in this map. Beast Mode alone in the back line has an opportunity to maybe hit a cheeky little pulse bomb, but Junofish just explodes Yamiro. Now the Graphitic Flux is out, and unfortunately, Stardy can only watch in horror as they are ruthlessly murdered from the sky as team.exe. These fights are really quick and decisive.
Yeah, and very small investment coming out from either squad, right? They're not overcommitting to these fights. It was just the Coalescence and the Gravitic Flux there. So now tying us up 3 apiece here. I think it's going to be super, super crucial for both of these ultimates for EMC Helheim. They have to be able to lock down Junofish on this Sigma, right? If this Sigma lives through the fight, it's going to just give too much space and let the DPS do far too much after.
All right, Pulse Bomb in the hands of Beast Mode, looking for it now that the raid is out. But Beast Mode! God dang it, Beast Mode! We talk so much good about you, and then you jump on the Pulse Bomb. Yamiro, good for one more as Catboy tries to walk it down with the Annihilation. Does just that, and they will be able to capture out C again. Moved him at point.
I mean, weirdly, Pulse Bomb was the most impactful ultimate in that fight, removing himself from the fight. It just means that Beast Mode is now missing here. Just an unfortunate recall timing, trying to get that Moira who is so low. Now means EMC, they find themselves at map point here, and they have still a Blizzard to work with. They're coming up on these support ults again.
And Juno has gone over to the Ramatra here. We'll see if that adaptation will work for them. Beast Mode trying to take care of Yamiro. Has the propensity to chase down this Reaper without that Wraith form. Will get that job done. Point hasn't unlocked yet, so with this Blizzard in, Ice Block out, Catboy, and I mean Juno just able to run out of the Blizzard. Sound Barrier now from Fab to help take down Stardy. This was looking very, very good for EXE. We're going to be headed to a 9th point here.
A 9th point, but EXE just invested both of their support ultimates. This Sound Barrier now coming out from EMC is going to be the difference maker in this final fight, especially when it might have to contend against Junofish's Annihilation, which is coming so close to being online.
All right, 2 ultimates in the hands of EMC, just about. Yamiro close to that Death Blossom. Beast Mode with a Pulse Bomb, able to mark Yamiro. Try to get cheeky, try to find somewhere to go, and I mean, they're still holding this angle down very, very well. Is Yamiro finally going to back down? Is the aggression going to come through? The Death Blossom ripping EXE apart. The point unlocks, and that may very well be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to Beast Mode here on the Tracer. I mean, I feel like we've said this Tracer's name time and again here, but they're already found.
Yeah, they marked Beast Mode. Pulse Bomb is out, but Beast Mode doesn't have a recall. Gets taken down. And now over 50% of this point is done. The wall could be big. They will get the touch there from Junofish, and the annihilation as well. Lexa from afar able to burn down Stardy with the virus. Juno's annihilation finding big damage, big value. It does end up falling. Lexa still being a menace from afar, but Catboy will not go down. Coalescence, annihilation in for EMC Helheim. It will be enough to lock up this map.
It's close. It's as close as it could get. Even a risky final fight here, but EMC stays alive. They are not going into that night without at least a map to their name here. And a beautiful bounce back means that you're now having to sort of reevaluate on the side of team.exe. They're having to think about things. I have people adding me already because I was talking smack saying, oh, Team EXE's got this. Just want to say there's still plenty of maps to be played here, but yeah, this is just a beautiful close bounce back.
I mean, it's so big, right? Like, they're at match point. It was 2-0 before this match. It's still, match point here for EMC Helheim. They're on the verge still. But after the disaster that was those first two maps, I mean, they needed this, right? This is the momentum that they needed. They made a big mistake, and it kind of hurt them into the second map. Now, they've won a map very, very close. They've been able to flip that coin. The close match that we've seen so far, able to go the other way this time. Can EMC continue to build that momentum?
And that's going to be the name of the game here, right? Being able to continue that momentum, especially as we're heading into Flashpoint. And a very similar mode here, the way it's going to play out with making sure these point caps go your way. It's not as fast as Clash, but, it's something that has to be taken into account here as we are getting a look at our stats. And again, it's so close. Technically speaking, if you're looking stats-wise, you could argue, oh, absolutely, EXE should have ran away with this. But no, I mean, you're probably looking towards just how powerful. Actually, wait, hang on. I'm doing quick math. Oh, no. Ymira almost has the deadlift on this map with 12 final blows. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, it felt like Fifi had a lot more impact than 8, 2, and 6. Am I crazy for that?
No, I mean,
it kind of like I saw Fifi die a lot, but also Fifi got the opening kill in like 3 or 4 fights.
And I think that's the issue, right? A lot of May's impact isn't ever seen in the stats. It's those wall placements, it's the slows that can help contribute to assists and other kills like that. But, while Fifi is nice, we are going to take a quick closer look at Ymiro on the Reaper. I mean, listen, Reaper on Throne of Anubis might actually just be a power spike because of the Mythic skin this season. Who knows? Test it out in your ranked games and let us know.
I mean, I frankly have always liked Reaper, even when it was Temple of Anubis. But yeah, Fifi, or rather Ymiro, sorry, was the difference maker of that map. They kind of felt like Team EXE never turned around. Because Ymiro was always behind them. And I mean, Ymiro was, playing very well on the Ashe before, but letting Ymiro flank and Team EXE basically letting them get away with it, that helps a lot when you can't get rid of the Reaper that is just chunking your backline down.
Exactly. And I mean, that Reaper is something that you have to worry about and keep in mind here. As we are getting a look towards our next map. Fun fact, it's not Flashpoint. I just completely lied. Flashpoint's not in the pool right now. I'm just crazy. But what's not crazy is the fact that we are heading to push, actually, for Esperanza. And I feel like if we're going back to the dive, I mean, again, Paraiso was very, very close for both sides.
Yeah, but the thing about Esperanza is that you don't have to commit to the dive, right? Like, the dive is strong, but so is, the Ramatra. If Junofish wanted to go back on that Sigma, I wouldn't say that that was a bad idea, right? I think Esperanza of the push maps is probably one of the most flexible. I guess not even push maps, but maps in the game. You can kind of do what you want. There's no hardline meta for this map unless there's just a hardline meta overall. So, I mean, EMC could definitely come to this still playing the Ramatra. I don't know about the May as much here on Esperanza. I don't think she gets as much value as you would like. But on either side, I could definitely see, what we've seen, the Ramatra for EMC, the Sigma for EXE. I guess only time will tell.
Exactly, and it just sort of comes down to what people are feeling in the moment, right? I feel like we've definitely seen Beast Mode just want to rely on that Tracer as much as possible, and it's forcing Fifi on the other side to, force that Tracer duel as much as humanly possible, which, as much as we're been praising Beast Mode all series long, we have to really give some respect to Fifi. She's been going toe-to-toe with this amazing Tracer and coming out ahead in quite a few of these duels as well here. So if she's able to turn it up, get that extra mile in, potentially just sort of zone Beast Mode out even more here, it could spell some absolute trouble here for Team EXE, as, they could start to let this series slip out of their hands.
All right. EMC, though, looking to snowball here on Esperanza. Just a few seconds, and we will be able to see, what these teams are thinking. And yeah, I think that is a good shout. Fifi, the impact wasn't as strong on the May, but regardless, they got the map win there. Tracer duel been very, very electric between these two teams, and we'll see if it continues. If you see a Winston there, Catboy and Juno both going to rock out on the dive.
Yeah, and I feel like, just again, with how these early high grounds play, it's going to be crucial. What I do like what I'm seeing from EMC, despite the fact that Yumiro's Ashe has been turning it up these last few maps, to be able to commit to the Tracer Sombra, it means you're going to be playing at such a lightning fast pace here. You're going to be able to punish both Alexa when they get out of position, as well as Issue playing the Ana here. You're probably going to have to see this Ana give up and make a quick swap after the first fight, unless there's somehow a magic win for Team EXE in the face of this adversity.
All right, Yumiro already behind on that Sombra, looking for a hack, looking to dive with Catboy and Fifi. There's going to be a dive there. Fab able to slide away, jumps onto the wall, stays alive in that fight. Jump there onto Varied. Will not confirm a kill, but did get the cleanse out, so not worst case scenario there at all, especially with Yumiro having to come back from spawn here. As EMC Helheim, they're just having to escape and wait for their Sombra to return.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Lexa coming up clutch on this Ashe, being able to fire those shots, remove the Sombra from the equation, because you saw, right, EMC, they dove so quickly that there wasn't even a reaction from Junofishes. Now they're going in again.
Yeah, Lexa jumped on one more time. Varied this time, the one to fall, though, as they will take the bot for a little bit of a walk there. Yumiro going to grab some meterage, but fight still going to belong to EXE.
Yep, and again, you're seeing the Yumiro try to commit onto this Ashe, but Lexa playing so far away that, the Sombra's ending up decloaking a little bit too early, the coach gun being saved for these perfect escapes that you've been seeing so far. But, not a lot of progress has been given over just yet, so plenty of time for EMC to get a good regroup and try to get their dive going.
I dive out from Professional, or rather Juno here. I'm not able to find much of anything, but Varied is able to actually get rid of the opposing Lucio, and now it is EMC Helheim that are surging.
Yep, surging is now just the Winston on the bot here, getting a few extra meters before Junofish will be removed. And, we're heading towards a heavy ult fight for both squads again. And, you saw a good little TP there from Varied and started to get away from this Winston, and they're going to have to do a lot more of that. Junofish have been looking to zone these supports out. If these supports can actually continue to use these escape tactics to sort of leave the Winston in the dust here and play with the rest of their team, they should be looking to some good fights.
I mean, Yumiro just gets found out again. Pulse bomb out from Beast Mode, not going to find a confirmed kill there. Professional Catboy just swings and swings and accidentally kills a Beast Mode there. Juno has a Primal Rage of their own. The lead will go over to EMC. Dive and Nano Boost from Juno there. Now Sound Barrier from Stardy. Only hits the backline, but that's all they needed, as the backline of EXE, it just ripped apart.
Yep, and I mean, don't get me wrong, you'll get Stardy for your troubles here, but it is just this back and forth continuing as we're seeing EMC continue their momentum, being able to push forward and do as they please. But, with them securing forward checkpoint, more than likely here, it is going to be a matter of when Team EXE are going to be able to respond.
All right, checkpoint belongs to EMC Helheim. The first capture of this map. We'll see as EXE returns from spawn. Ymiro with the EMP looking to hack. Probably going to want to hack Bob there, but will choose to just run around to the opposite side to join their team. Pulse bomb out. Junofish, the one that is hit by the EMP. They cannot get the Primal Rage off that lockout. 3 seconds off the back of the EMP, a little longer than normal. And without Juno, it's going to be hard for EXE to take this fight. Dive comes through from Professional Catboy as EXE just run for their lives.
I mean, yeah, just continuing to run. They're scared of what they have. You know, they're scared of what they needed to do there. But I mean, considering how that went, I really thought that it was going to be a massive misplay to not hack the Bob out, but it's just a beautiful disengage means that now EXE, they're finding themselves more and more on the back foot here. They don't seem to have a response because, again, they can't get into these positions to make their Ashe and Ana work for them.
All right, Fifi, one more time on the flank, getting ready for this dive. Sleep came out from Issue, did not find a target, but Fifi does! The backhand drops Lexa early here. We're not going to see much of anything from... I mean, EXE is going to pop the Primal Rage to stay in this fight, and the answer is Varied's Kitsune Rush. I mean, this Winston is very, very low, able to escape, but Fifi has a Pulse Bomb. That pallet ate that Pulse Bomb for sure. Now Fifi still does not want to back off, but Issue has dispatched of Professional Catboy, and with that, EMC Helheim will escape. Try to.
Yeah, and so now their disengage is going to be crucial here. As, you know, EXE, they're going to be looking for any advantage they can as they continue this fight. They're going to keep it moving. Being able to reset those forward spawns is going to be the first key. Now you're going to be probably looking for a nano engage for Junofish on this Winston here. But again, it's going to be about making sure you can actually lock down this backline. They've been so evasive so far.
All right, Juno on the high ground. Catboy anti, but does have that Primal Rage in the pocket. Gonna come through. Sleep not gonna find a target. Now Primal Rage from Catboy to try and juggle these supports. Rally is the answer from Fab. It's already going to use their own sound barrier. Massive anti-grenade there from Issue, but the nano boost has not found the value that they would have liked. Juno does end up cleaning it up, and even with the kills on the Lexa and Fab, EXE are going to be able to stay above water.
And that was such an important stabilization fight. Again, they had to make sure that they got through without having to overinvest and being able to keep those forward spawns at bay here. So now this will be meaningful bot progress starting to be gained by Team EXE. At the cost of their sport ultimates, obviously, but now Ymiro coming back in. This EMP, we know how devastating it can be.
And it's going to hit two. Issue and Junofish popped by the EMP. Does have the Primal Rage ready to go. There is a trade of supports. Stardy goes down in turn at the hand of Beast Mode. Bob going to be thrown in by Lexa just for some supplemental damage as they await Issue's return. And it will be enough as EMC Helheim's health bars, they're just so low.
Yeah, evaporating. And so now the shoe is on the other foot. Forward spawns are going to be gained for Team EXE. Still a good, solid lead for EMC to battle back into this. But I mean, the fact that EXE is able to battle short-handed without their Ana and just being able to survive through that EMP is massive here. Both Tracers going to be the difference makers here as two Pulse Bombs are going to decide this next fight.
All right, Kitsune Rush in the hands of Varied, able to stay alive. Pulse Bomb, Anti-Nade onto Catboy, but the lead will not be surrendered just yet, but Varied will still no use of the Kitsune Rush there from Varied. A little bit of a virus there onto Juno, but the Sniper Monkey takes advantage and takes down the Sombra.
Yeah, removing the Sombra from the equation here. And so now this will actually be Team EXE taking the lead in this map here with about 2 minutes and some change in the bank here. EMC going to be able to come back into this one. They have their Kitsune Rush, the only ultimate for either team right now here. This should be a good re-engage tool if they choose to use it.
Alright, well, the Ana does not have a sleep, but unfortunately, Catboy has missed the jump. Fifi ripped through Beast Mode, followed up there from Juno, but the hack and the virus and the headshot damage from Varied is enough to drop Junofish anti there on the Professional Catboy. Can they stay alive? They get around the corner there of the bus stop, and now it will be a nano boost on the Fab. Kitsune Rush, or rather the sound barrier, not Kitsune Rush. I'm an insane person. Out there, but not a great nano boost there on the Fab as they fall. Not going to find the value they wanted.
I mean, yeah, EXE, that's very odd commit there for both of their support ultimates. That's something they may even want back here as EMC now going to get control of this bot once again here. They're going to be trying to push forward, but Primal Rage even.
Varied lives there. For a little while. Beast Mode able to track down that kill. Lead is still not too big as Juno continues. Whoa. Wow. Juno. Jeez. Ooh, okay, Beast Mode as well. Throws up the Pulse Bomb, gets the stagger.
Yeah, I mean, so now all of a sudden, EXE again, a fight where they're down, a fight where they should be counted out by all regards, is with them getting more and more bot progress here. It is just going to be some tapping back and forth here before this bot continues to move. EMC now find themselves in position. They may have to invest this EMP just to sort of win one fight here, but time is starting to be a factor.
All right, it is a duel between Juno and Candy, or Catboy rather, on the point. Juno does end up falling at the hands of the EMP. Beast Mode will follow their tank in the suit. And, Bob is annoying, but you got to get the bot rolling, guys.
I mean, this is just going to mean more fights, more opportunities for EXE, which they absolutely need, right? They're going to need another fight just to try to build up towards some of these ultimates that they do not have. Meanwhile, EMC Helheim, for their battle back here, it's going to be an overtime, but they have tools to work with as long as they do not get staggered out. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting overtime situation.
All right, overtime begins as EMC Helheim tried to run it back. Pulse Bomb stick there onto Juno Fish. Good for the pick. Healing comes through, gets Fifi healthy. And without Juno Fish, there really isn't a fight before this checkpoint.
No, there's not, and they're not choosing to die on bot either, so these could be some very massive staggers that are coming through here on the side of Team EXE. The Ash and Ana desperately trying to run for their lives, and it seems like for now they will be able to escape, but how long until this dive can come back through for EMC Helheim? They look ready.
All right, 20 meters now separates these teams. Kitsune Rush to start this fight with varied nano boost onto Juno Fish, but Catboy has dropped issue first. Beast Mode finds a stick onto Stardy. That is what they need, a trade there. The Ana for the Lucio. Fifi under a lot of pressure. The point continues to move, but the Primal Rage moves the players of EMC Helheim away. Fifi able to get the better of Beast Mode in the 1v1, but it is not enough. Team EXE will draw first blood from EMC this season, 3-1.
They take it. It's a close affair between these two teams. I think this is going to be a very nice preview for her mid-season tournament here in the EU GM tier. These teams sure to face each other again at some point, at least I hope, in the bracket, with how close it was across a variety of comps. But like you said, team.exe seemed to be a program that ran successfully today, coming up with the clutch time and again when they needed it.
Yeah, and I mean, EMC kept it close the whole time. Like, this wasn't a blowout by any means. I mean, the most blowouty map was Antarctic Peninsula, and I mean that was just because of an unfortunate series of events for EMC Helheim. Team EXE, you kind of said it. They had the ice when they needed the ice, and EMC didn't. They just made the worst mistakes, frankly.
I mean, yeah, the worst mistakes, that's definitely a way to talk about it. But again, I mean, you can't even necessarily, certainly you saw some egregious mistakes here or there. It happens to the best of us. But overall, these two teams really were in tow with each other. Not just, again, it's impressive to say that they were doing it across a variety of compositions, right? Being able to play a multitude of things and still play each other close. It shows, just how good all of these players are here. But, when you're looking at these teams, only one can win at the end of the day. And I think I see a winner. I think I see a winner at these stats.
Look at Juno, man. This guy is ridiculous.
12, 13, almost a deadlift. Almost.
I mean, just an absolutely monumental performance there on Esperanza from Juno and throughout this entire series. I mean, Lexa issue and Fab, and Lexa especially on map number 1 on the Ash, very, very good. Beast Mode and Juno were on another level today. I mean, without them, like, I think that this match is still, relatively close, but it was the clutch factor, the ice of both of those incredible players that put EXE over the edge, right? We had spectacular plays, 3Ks, 4Ks from either of those players when they really shouldn't have gotten them.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's individual skill there, of course, but then you do have just how close they're able to play in terms of their synergy, right? Being in the right place at the right time was making all of the difference, especially when it came to those dive comps, but being able to follow up with the Sig Poke as well was something that really was admired for Team EXE, and they get themselves a very good win, a good momentum builder heading into next week.
Yeah, I mean, incredible game from them. That is a very, very big confidence booster. Now, only one undefeated team left in this GM tier. But hey, this tournament, if this match is anything about what this tournament is going to be like, I am excited for this EU GM tier. But for now, we are going to cut it to a short break, and when we come back, we will have Juno Fish, the dominant tank player here for team.exe, for an interview. Should be a good one. Stick around. All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got an interview here with the tank player for team.exe, Juno Fish. You got the win tonight. How y'all feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I think overall that was a performance we can be proud of. We didn't troll any silly fights, didn't make many silly mistakes, major ones anyway. I know we lost a few from picks and whatnot, but overall, pretty good performance.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely great from y'all. I guess the first question is, right, because obviously y'all were playing a little bit of off meta. How did that just end up working out?
Well, after the last major pack, I saw Sigma got some buffs and started rubbing my hands together and grinning. I thought he's going to be my rank pocket pick, and before playing on this team, I've had quite a bit of experience playing Sigma in a similar comp to that one, and thought I could bring it over and see how it works in this meta. It seems to work quite nicely.
I mean, yeah, it worked pretty well, if I do say so myself. Now, I want us to think back to map number 1, where just the most egregious C9 occurred. Was that like a big boon of confidence for y'all to go into the rest of that series knowing that, that would have hurt them and that we can take advantage of their mistakes?
To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about their game. I was thinking we focus on our game and we just get it done, and that happened to work throughout the rest of the maps. It's a bit of an egregious error, but you know how things go. Sometimes it's not your day. Today it was ours.
Hell yeah. I mean, hey, having that confidence is great, but like you said, you secure a good win here, and now this, I think, actually shakes up the seedings for mid-season tournament quite a bit here in EUGM. I mean, how are you guys looking forward to that tournament?
We're definitely looking forward to it. We were disappointed with our loss to Special Forces, and hopefully this gives us a chance to redeem ourselves. Hopefully we'll be on a good day. We'll be performing at our best, and we can win against them instead of putting on a terrible performance like last time.
All right, well, if y'all perform like I saw y'all perform tonight, I think y'all could do just fine. But now, Juno, before we send you off here tonight, do you have anything you want to say? Anything you want to anyone you want to shout out before you head out?
I'd like to shout out my goat, Beast Mode. Beast Mode played an amazing game today, and yeah, just inspired confidence in us all. Great person. That's pretty much it.
You know what? I think we, generally had the same idea there. Yeah. So thank you, Juno, for talking to us here. And we wish y'all the best of luck in the mid-season tournament.
All right, thanks for having me.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Megalas, our time here on SNO this week has come to a close. Man, what a good match.
What a good match, especially, again, just so hyped for midseason next week when you've got teams like this in this bracket, but across all of the brackets really playing each other close here. I'm super excited for it. I'm also excited to hear, just about, what our post-game breakdown is going to be, because I get to be right. I get to just laugh and tell everybody they're smelly and they're wrong. I didn't get the score right, but it's fine. Nobody look at that. I got the team right. That's all that matters. And yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yep, should be a lot of fun as we get ready to head over to the break. This is our final SNO before the mid-season tournament next week. That one is going to be a lot of fun. Megalas, unless you have something else to say?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you're good. All right, we're going to cut it to a break.
It's not a break, it's the desk. It's just the desk.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to go take a break. Maybe take a nap. I don't know. Team.exe gets the win here. Spectreon is going to talk about milking chickens, I guess.
Is that how you're throwing it? Is that just how?
Yeah, that's how I'm.
All right, Hippie,
get
do the
get
thing.
us out of here. Get us out of here. Talk about the chickens, Beck.
All right. Thank you, Fletch and Mega. That was an amazing cast by you guys. And what an amazing series we just witnessed. Team EXE getting the victory 3-1 over EMC. I just want to throw it to Spectreon. A lot of you guys, we have our own chat in the background, and he was just fuming most of that match. So I'm just going to open up the floor to you.
Obviously, I got my pred wrong. That sucks. It is what it is. We can't always be right. I think what we saw from this game was two different things. One was that Beast Mode and Junofish just combined just went absolutely ballistic. They both played out of their minds. It was so impressive watching them work. And the other thing is that EMC Helheim just made a series of increasingly questionable decisions that I really can't get behind. Obviously, we sent our minds all the way back to Antarctic Peninsula. You remember they win 100-0 against the SIG comp playing Brig Juno. They never play Brig Juno again in the series. I couldn't tell you why. Or when they start to find some success on the Diva and Paraiso, they just never play Diva again into the Monkey. And again, I could not tell you why. It was just a succession of compositional and individual mistakes that just cascaded into them losing a game that honestly, I think they had it in them 2-3-0. I'll stand behind my prediction. I think that was very reasonable. Again, the two things that stand out to me are I think EMC Helheim really underperformed. And, obviously we gave Junofish the MVP, but Beast Mode 2 was just absolutely ballistic. At one point during Paraiso, fully flatter deadlifting. Just both played out of their minds and deserve a lot of praise for exactly how well they performed today.
All right, Headrammer, break it down for us. What was that series?
No, I agree. It felt like team.exe was constantly kind of getting to play a little bit more of the style they wanted to. And what we saw from EMC right in the beginning, they didn't really stick with it, kind of just like what Spectron said. Additionally, it felt like they had a really hard time cleaning up, properly cleaning up their fights, because we saw a little bit of this on the end of the last push map, where we had a good lead from EMC, and they're starting to come back, but Junofish and Beast Mode just kept trading, so they keep in situations where they're going down people, they're losing people, and it was just causing a little bit of trouble for them. And it also felt like I don't know if they got rattled when they lost the first map, coming in with all the comments they did, and it took a little bit of the series for them to kind of come back a little bit. They came back strong on push to start, and honestly, that push map could have gone either way. We saw right at the end EMC coming back, and unfortunately, I think Stardy died right as I got beat right in that final fight. And honestly, if they got the beat off, I think they would have won that fight, taking to a map 5. So no matter what, this series was incredibly close, and I want to see a rematch of these two teams.
We might just get that in the mid-season madness, depending. I actually think we will, because I think it's possible that EXE goes up a rank for getting this in. EMC goes down a rank and Team EXE goes up a rank. So they might be in the 2-3 match. We're going to have to see how that ends up coming together, but it's definitely possible. Hunter, what were your thoughts of the series?
I just want to echo what you kind of just said here. I did a little bit of the analytic math before doing this. Team EXE does have the bigger strength of schedule, and since they tie map differential, they should, by all means, go over Godstack. And as long as Special Forces doesn't throw it away, we're probably going to see a rematch realistically immediately, all things considered. So I'm excited for that, but I have to echo Headhammer. I think this match can be a close one. I love the way that both these teams played, but unfortunately, again, it was just this heavy underperformance. While we saw Fifi really popping off, we saw Yumiro, unfortunately, a lot of the times, outside of this clip right here, where they managed to they go in with their ultimates, they clutch out the fight. Unfortunately, it wasn't the generational play that we kind of saw from a DPS like Beast Mode, and even to an extent, Alexa, because even though we didn't talk about them a whole lot here while we were watching or on the, during the actual cast, they were still doing their job. It's not like they were throwing fights away by any means.
You can see the some of the clips here of Yumiro to illustrate it, and you just see how many early deaths they're offering up. It's really unfortunate that they just didn't perform today. That maybe 10 to 15 pre-fight deaths. There's so many fights that you're losing for your side. It's just ridiculous, unfortunately.
I thought it was interesting also, too, how much Ashe we saw in this series versus a lot more like Cass walking around, say, like the Ana Brig.
Yeah, that was definitely a sight to see. It was an interesting match. At the end of the day, this seemed like it was a match for cowards, considering we got a 3-1. So, all kidding aside, I echo that was extremely good. I think if we see this matchup again in round 1 of the midseason playoffs, I want it casted. I think it definitely. I could see it flip the other way and be 3-1 the opposite way. If EMC just makes a few tweaks, maybe they play Brig Juno. Maybe instead they play a Diva at some point. Maybe things change. So, it was insane. But let's go ahead. Spectrion kind of echoed it earlier. Our series MVP is Junofish. It just absolutely same massive tank gap. Played so many different tanks to a high level. I mean, what stuck out to you with Junofish, Headrammer?
I think it just felt like Judofish was kind of. Well, you mentioned right there, they played a number of heroes. They played the Sigma, we saw the Ram, we saw the Winston. All were played at an incredibly high level. And not only that, is it felt like they were commanding their team forward. It felt like Junofish and Beast Mode were constantly in sync with each other on their dives, constantly in situations where they're like, we're moving forward, we're going back. And that's really what you want out of your tank. You need your tank to command you forward and be in sync with your DPS to kind of take out those backlines. And I mean, it really showed off. There was pretty much no moment in the series where I felt like Junofish was like hindering their team. Obviously, everyone makes mistakes every once in a while, but it always felt like they had the advantage on the other team.
What stuck out to you about Junofish's performance, Spectre? Because I know you were definitely tempted to say Beast Boy, and then we saw that self-pulse bomb, and we kind of, okay.
No, I do think Beast Mode went off, like I said. I think with Junofish, the thing that's impressed me most is, like, I always say with tanking, the most important thing is simply being in the right place at the right time. And it was perfect timings, and it was super comfortable positioning, right? It was a great understanding of what the kind of attention of your enemy team is like. You know, are they looking at me? Are they looking at my team? Do I need to take aggro? Do I need to, relieve some of it? It was this, like, almost perfect timing, syncing up with Beast Mode so often. And as Headrunner mentioned as well, having that depth of hero pool is also super, super useful. Being able to play into, honestly, more than a couple of really awkward matchups on that tank role and being able to perform admirably on all of them. One thing that stuck out to me even was during that Clash map of Throne of Anubis, we see a fight where he fluxes and then charges another 50% of a flux before the fight's even finished. He's just played a ridiculous map of Overwatch, a ridiculous series of Overwatch, and absolutely deserving of his MVP.
It was a sight to be seen. I feel like Junofish was absolutely everywhere on the map. Hunter, I mean, what did you think of Junofish's performance?
I mean, I have to double down on that because obviously when we talk about generational tanks, like, we'll think of someone like someone, and it's not because they're the best D.Va, it's not because they're the best Ramatra, is that they're one of the best flex tanks of all time, realistically speaking. And that's what makes a really good tank right there. You could be good at one or two tanks or a specific type of tank. That's great, but when you can come out and run 3 or 4 different tanks relatively at that same level and consistently throughout stats and throughout the match be diffing the other tank, that does mean something. And it should always mean something, but I just think it was a great performance by them. Like you said, Beast Mode following up brilliantly as well. I'd say everyone could agree that was a close second in regards to our MVP. But, I mean, again, if that performance keeps up, I mean, I'm not sure much can stop this team outside of Special Forces, and I'm sure they're looking forward to that rematch, hopefully, in the Grand Finals.
Once again, congratulations to Junofish for earning our MVP, and congratulations to Team EXE for getting that victory. We're going to go ahead and remind you guys of our schedule that is going to continue today for SNO. As we mentioned, we just witnessed 3-1 Team EXE getting the victory over EMC Helheim. And tonight we have YE Snowfall going up against Vicious Inferno. YE Snowfall is pretty much guaranteed to the midseason madness. Vicious Inferno needs a victory to be able to guarantee it. So going to have a lot of indications for the match up tonight as we get ready to slowly start closing out this EU portion of the desk. We'll remind you that we will be back live again next week during the mid-season to bring you some playoff games. We're just going to wait for them to get scheduled because some of them will be played early in the week, and we do SNO on Saturday. So it's going to be a lot of really nice matchups. I mean, it should, for the most part, be hopefully grand finals on Saturday for a lot of these. So that's going to be awesome. And then, yeah, just a reminder, mid-season playoffs is next week. So, I mean, we're going to be streaming a ton. Make sure to always check out the CGL channel, follow us, get those notifications in the Discord server, get that stream ping roll so you get notified when we go live. And you will see all 4 of us in NA later today, all in different roles. Me, Spectron, and Headrunner will still be on the desk. Hunter gets to go back behind the caster desk where he belongs. I'm just kidding.
You're right.
And we'll be bringing some others in as well to the desk. Do you guys have any other final wishes you guys like to shout out before we end the stream for today?
No.
Especially when you're holding something back. I can tell by that look.
Rip Team Gambit. Gone too soon.
Rip sheer cold, didn't they? Didn't
Okay,
they?
yeah, no, they're actually just like Thanos snaps.
Should I do some shout outs to all our prod people that made the broadcast possible?
Oh, for sure. EU in tears with some of their teams. But yeah, once again, so shout out Hippie, who runs this entire show as a tech director. He makes everything possible. Shout outs to June, Rhino, Blizzard, and Little Joe. They make us all look perfect. They make the games look the way they are, and it's thanks to them that the show looks so amazing. With that, we are going to end the EU portion of the SNO desk. We will be back live at 7:30 Eastern tonight for the NA portion of the desk, and we will see you guys then.